We planned this for a long
So
time.
what were your thoughts when you heard about this strike?
Well, we were just sick. We thought we weren't going to get to see anything. So this is just a real high point for us today.
A real high point, and the Grinch is scheduled to end its run January 6th.
Wraps it up for us. We're going to go to the sit room now, and Suzanne Malveaux.
Hi, Suzanne.
Guys, happening now, a new U.S. gamble on Middle East peace, getting a boost today from Arab nations. We'll look at the stakes for the region and for President Bush at next week's conference in Annapolis. Also this hour, the end-of-the-year rush is on. While you're shopping, the presidential candidates are gearing up for a campaign blitz. We'll start the countdown to the first contest with a key Hillary Clinton ally, former Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack. And the Republicans get their shot at making history. The next CNN YouTube presidential debate is just 5 days away. We'll set the stage for the face-off and show you some of the questions submitted online. Wolf Blitzer's off today. I'm Suzanne Malveaux, and you're in the Situation Room. Saudi Arabia and other Arab nations are offering a new glimmer of hope today for the long-stalled Middle East peace process. They are saying yes to an invitation to a U.S.-sponsored conference here in the Washington area next week. Now, as you would expect, the Bush administration certainly is welcoming this decision. Our CNN's Kathleen Koch is at the White House for us. Kathleen, obviously this is a very important move forward for President Bush.
And certainly it is, Suzanne, and this a clear boost for something that if the president were to succeed would mean a lot to building his legacy as he faces just one more year in the White House. Now, there had been a lot of concern about whether the summit would even happen with all the players that were supposed to participate. Hamas had been pressuring Arab countries not to attend. Tens of thousands of people protesting in the streets of Gaza today. Saudi Arabia's foreign minister saying even up until today that his country had been reluctant to attend, but now he says they're going with the consensus, and that's a real breakthrough because Saudi Arabia has refused to recognize Israel. No senior Saudi official has ever met publicly with an Israeli official other than that than at the United Nations. Certainly, again, the White House is applauding the vote. A spokesman for the State Department, Edgar Vasquez, saying, quote, "We welcome the decision by the Arab League Follow-Up Committee to attend the Annapolis conference at the ministerial level. This is a signal they believe this will be a serious and substantive meeting." And certainly the goal out of this on the part of the administration is that the formation of a Palestinian state. President Bush has very proudly pointed out that he is the first American president to suggest this two-state solution. But while the administration is saying they would like to see perhaps before he leaves the White House to see that goal reached, even this week, the spokesman, press secretary for the White House, Dana Perino, was injecting some reality, Suzanne, saying they understand the conference is not going to have, quote, instant results.
Kathleen Koch at the White House, thank you so much. And joining us now, former Defense Secretary and former U.S. Senator William Cohen. He is now head of the global business consulting firm, the Cohen Group. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, obviously, the expectations set very high here, the bar. It was surprising. We heard Secretary Rice say they want a deal by the end of the administration. I want to read for you here. This is something that Senator Biden, actually, a statement that he made about this, saying that he strongly supports the upcoming Annapolis conference. It's presents a real opportunity, but it's a one-shot deal. It won't work. Middle East peace process needs the sort of sustained day-in and day-out engagement at the highest levels that this administration thus far has shown little interest or aptitude for. This conference will only be meaningful if it's the start of a continued effort, not the end of one. We have seen fits and starts from this administration. Is this too little, too late?
I think what Senator Biden has said is correct. I don't know of anyone who's had more experience in dealing with this issue who is stronger in his support for Israel, but also stronger in his support for a two-state solution than Senator Biden. So I take him at his word, and I think he's correct that this can't be a one-shot, sort of a photo op, walk-on proposition. This has to be a sustained effort. I think the effort has not been made, certainly during the first term of the Bush administration. President Bush should be given credit for now initiating this with Secretary Rice really moving as hard as she can. And I would expect that she will continue to follow this on a day-by-day basis to achieve an agreement if one is possible.
Do you think she's been effective so far?
I think she's been effective, and we're seeing it. We're seeing Saudi Arabia, the foreign minister of Saudi Arabia, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Israel, all coming together with this conference. That's a major step forward.
I want to play here, read to you Giuliani, obviously one of the Republican presidential candidates, who says this about the Middle East Conference. He says, it's not in the interest of the United States at a time when it is being threatened by Islamist terrorists to assist the creation of another state that will support terrorism. Why aren't the Republicans on board and backing Bush in this conference?
Well, it's curious. All of the candidates, Republican and Democratic, have said that failure is not an option in Iraq. And now some seem to be saying that a failure of the Middle East peace process or a rejection of it is acceptable. I find that hard to reconcile. This is a political process. Much as we're seeing a political process unfold in Iraq, this is a political process that has to unfold between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And so to say we don't want this, then tell me what the option is. Does it mean no two-state solution? Does it mean that Israel becomes just barricaded behind walls?
But why not focus on, say, a big conference dealing with Iraq reconciliation? Because obviously that is what really, that's the key here. I mean, why focus on the Middle East?
Because these are all tied in together. Syria, for example, is very much involved in Iraq. Syria, it looks to make an agreement with the Israelis. The Israelis, I was with Prime Minister Olmert back in the spring. He very much wants to move forward in dealing with the Syrians. And so it all is tied together, and you can't just separate, let's just deal with Iraq. You cannot separate it out. You must deal with Iran, Syria, and the Palestinians as well.
Real quick, are you optimistic that this is going to produce something?
I think we have to be clear-eyed and not dewy-eyed on this, real clear-headed, that we know what the objective are. We have to continue to work at it. Don't have unrealistic expectations, but don't give up. This has the best chance for moderating the Palestinian approach, empowering Mahmoud Abbas, and reaching an agreement by the end of the Bush administration's term.
Okay, thank you so much, Bill Cohen. And now to the race for the White House. Well, 'tis the season for candidates to actually campaign like crazy. The first contest in Iowa now less than 6 weeks away. Here's our own CNN's Tom Foreman.
Oh, Suzanne, it was so nice having a day without presidential politics. But we better cherish the memory, because right now an onslaught is coming. Thanksgiving is over and the holiday season is underway. And that means the mad dash for gifts has started. But that's not the only contest shifting into high gear.
After a brief break for Turkey, expect the presidential campaign to come back with a vengeance.
With less than 6 weeks to go until the first presidential primary contest, the pace really picks up. Next Wednesday, the Republican White House hopefuls face off at a CNN YouTube debate in St. Petersburg, Florida. In December, most of the action will move to Iowa. That's because the Iowa caucuses, which kick off the presidential primary voting, will take place on January 3rd, the earliest date they've ever been held. With Christmas just 9 days before the caucuses, will we see campaigning on the 25th of December?
Hey folks, anybody need some coffee?
Senator Joe Biden was one of the candidates who made the rounds on Thanksgiving Day. With so much at stake, it might be hard for the campaigns to totally go dark on Christmas Day, and here's why. In Iowa, in the race for the Democratic nomination, it appears to be a dead heat between Senators Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and former Senator John Edwards. And on the Republican side, Mitt Romney's on top, but polls there indicate the race is also tightening.
Hillary Clinton and Rudy Giuliani are the frontrunners in the national polls, but in Iowa, it's a very different story.
So, if you live in one of the early contest states like Iowa, New Hampshire, or South Carolina, you're just going to be buried at this point. But, as we say in raw politics, the rest of us aren't off the hook either. The simple truth is we're almost all going to see some kind of ads or hear them on the radio or just be pummeled by news coverage of the presidential campaign, just like this, all the way up until the voting. Suzanne?
Thanks, Tom. Now look for presidential hopefuls to zero in on 3 early battleground states this weekend. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Bill Richardson, and Joe Biden all campaign in the leadoff caucus state of Iowa in the next 2 days. Rudy Giuliani, Mitt Romney, John Edwards, and Dennis Kucinich all plan to stump in New Hampshire. Mike Huckabee and Fred Thompson have scheduled weekend swings through South Carolina. And Jack Cafferty and the Cafferty File are off today, but back on Monday. We're counting down to the CNN YouTube Republican presidential debate. We'll give you a preview of possible questions, including those asked in, well, kind of off-the-wall ways. Also ahead, Hillary Clinton has lost some steam in Iowa. Could she stumble in the lead-off contest of the primary season? Well, I'll ask Clinton supporter and former Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack. And California voters might get a chance to turn the electoral process upside down and sway the outcome of the presidential race. A national showdown is playing out right now in the Golden State.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
My fellow Americans, I'm a PC.
Why so official?
Well, some people are giving up on Vista Mac because it doesn't work the way they want it to. Other people are going back to XP.
Really? Downgrading?
Yes, but we PCs won't give up. If your printer isn't compatible with Vista, I say, buy a new printer. If Mac's new Leopard operating system has dozens of new features, I say, ignore them. Ask not what Vista can do for you. Ask what you can buy for Vista.
Wow, you're really committed to this.
Oh, not really. I switched back to XP 3 weeks ago. So much happier.
If you have high blood pressure like me and get a cold, you need cold medicine with a heart. Only Coricidin HBP has a heart right on the box. It's the only cold brand that won't raise your blood pressure. Coricidin HBP, powerful cold medicine with a heart.
The cartilage in your joints is drying out, but you can hydrate your joints with Joint Juice Fitness. Each 10-calorie bottle of Joint Juice Fitness is packed with glucosamine to help keep the cartilage in your joints hydrated and help keep you active. Hydrate your joints with Joint Juice Fitness.
Where are you now, Daddy?
I'm in Tokyo this time.
Is Paris far away?
Pretty far away.
Buenos Aires.
Do you know where Spain is?
It's right under France.
That's right.
When are you coming home?
I'll be home real soon.
I love you, Daddy.
And where are we flying to today?
We're having a business meeting in London.
Life can take you almost anywhere, and so can we. We know why you fly. We're American Airlines.
It was all over the place, literally. An IRA here, a bunch of funds there. That's why we kept putting off moving here. We thought it'd be a nightmare. But actually, with Schwab, it was the opposite. You get this concierge person, he did the paperwork, called the old firm for me, showed us around the website, all that stuff. It was a breeze.
At Infiniti, we believe a vehicle should deliver all-wheel control when you need it and V8 performance when you want it. Introducing the new Infiniti V8 M45 with intelligent all-wheel drive. A driver's car, inside and out. The new M from Infiniti.
We'll look for Hillary Clinton to put extra time and energy into Iowa in the days ahead now that her frontrunner status has suffered a new blow there. The latest poll from the leadoff caucus state showing Barack Obama gaining ground on Clinton. Well, joining us now, former Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack, a national chairman of Hillary Clinton's campaign. Governor, thank you very much for joining us here in the Situation Room. I want to start off by presenting two polls to you. Obviously, very consistent on the national level. She is up ahead here. Clinton at 48%, Obama trailing 21%, Edwards 12%, Kucinich 4%. But then you look at your state, the state of Iowa here, the latest ABC News Washington Post poll showing Barack Obama inching ahead here, 30%, Hillary Clinton 26%, John Edwards 22%, Bill Richardson 11%, Joe Biden 4%. You know the folks of Iowa better than anybody here. What is happening? Why is she sinking in the polls? Why is she losing traction in your home state?
Well, I would first of all say that there have been 12 polls since October 1st, and Senator Clinton's been ahead in 11 of the 12. I think this poll and all of the other 11 that show her ahead basically show one thing about Iowa, and that is that it's a very close race between Senator Obama, Senator Clinton, and Senator Edwards. It's been that way for several months. It's going to continue to be that way. At the end of the day, it's not going to be about polls. It's going to be about organization.
But why do you suppose she's losing ground?
Well, I would take issue with whether or not she's actually losing ground. Those polls are, again, 12 polls, 11 she's ahead, 1 she's behind. I would say as I said before, unless you're Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, 11-1 is pretty good. The bottom line is it's tough to poll Iowa because you just don't know who's going to show up at a caucus. You don't know who's going to be viable. And so therefore the focus is on organization and making sure you get your people to the caucus. And I think ultimately what Iowans are going to look at is whether or not they are in position to nominate someone who can win and someone who's experienced enough to be able to lead from day one. And I think when they look at those issues, they're going to conclude Senator Clinton is the strongest candidate for the party.
Now, there's something that some Iowa voters are quite concerned about, and that really is whether or not she is honest and trustworthy. I want to take a look at this poll here. Honest and trustworthy, they score Obama at 31%, Edwards at 20%, Clinton goes down to 15%, just above Richardson at 13%. Does that pose a problem for her?
I don't think so, because as Iowans get to know Hillary Clinton, as she gets to travel around the state as she is going to continually do through the month of December, they're going to continue to get to know her. And when they do, they sign supporter cards. They get to know her, not the caricature of her, not the cartoon of her, and not what her opponents are trying to suggest about her, but who she really is. And I will tell you, I've been in a number of events with her. People gravitate to her. People are excited about it, passionate about it. I think we've got a lot of momentum going on in this state. There's no question about it, and I expect us to do quite well on caucus night.
And Governor, you made a comment in a TV interview that's created quite a stir here, raised some eyebrows lately. As you said before, you said there's no question she was the face of the administration in foreign affairs, talking about Senator Clinton. Richardson's folks shot back immediately. This from Tom Reynolds, their spokesperson, saying Governor Vilsack's enthusiasm for his candidate has clouded his judgment. We take some exception to this opinion. I also think Madeleine Albright might disagree, too. Do you want to clarify your comment?
Well, I'm not sure Madeleine Albright would necessarily disagree. I will tell you what my source is. It's Bill Clinton, the President of the United States, who suggested and has on many occasions in Iowa that during the first term, because he was busy with Bosnia and other areas, he sent Senator Clinton out as his representative, as the country's representative. She's been to 82 countries. She knows world leaders. There's no question about the fact she was an integral player and a significant player in the first Clinton administration. That's one of the experiences that she brings to the table that's unique and different about her than the rest of the candidates.
So you're saying Bill Clinton signed off on that evaluation. She was the face of the foreign affairs.
He has suggested that on numerous occasions, that he sent her around the world. She's visited 82 countries. She knows world leaders, and she's ready on day one to begin repairing the relationships that have been damaged so tremendously during the Bush administration. I want to play real quick here. This is an ad that was on her website for the caucuses. You've got you doing a little bit of a jig here. Now, I know people said you've gone out of your way to support her, and we see it. This has gone to great lengths here because you're out there doing your thing. Let me ask you this on a lighter note. Do you think that this gives you a little bit of extra boost here, perhaps, to be her running mate? There's been a lot of discussion about that. Well, I was kind of hoping it might get me a spot on Dancing with the Stars, but apparently the early reviews are suggesting otherwise. We wanted to make sure that people knew that there were some things in life that are hard. Dancing is very hard for me, as you can see. But caucusing is easy, and we have a lot of first-time caucus goers. We want to make sure they're comfortable with the notion of going on January 3rd and standing up for Hillary Clinton. If she asked you to be your running mate, would you say yes? You know what? I am focused on making sure she's our nominee, and then she'll make the right choice for the country and the party. Okay. Thank you so much, Governor. Appreciate it. You bet. And there is still time to submit your questions for the Republican presidential candidates online and make your mark on campaign history.
I'm a registered Republican, I'm a Christian, and I'm also gay. My husband Jeff and I are raising 2 children, but a vote for you is a vote against my family. We'll give you a taste of the political statements and tough questions we're receiving for next week's CNN YouTube debate. And later, one person, one vote. Well, not quite. Critics say the Electoral College gets in the way. We'll have a one-on-one course on that quirk in America's voting system.
Before taking any loan, you should know the terms.
CFSA member companies always follow state regulations to make payday advance terms clear. Starting January 1st, all stores will display easy-to-read posters that show advance amount, fee, and APR.
Fees differ by company and state.
Look for the posters or go to knowyourfee.org before you take out a payday advance.
Making the fine print bigger, that's responsible lending.
Always use payday advances responsibly.
A debate so epic, even Abraham Lincoln wants to be there. Anderson Cooper, live. The CNN debate, where the citizen is the star. The CNN YouTube Republican debate, Wednesday
at 6 a.m. on CNN.
None of this.
The most of this.
The most stories per hour.
The most news in the morning, period. American Morning, weekdays on CNN.
Little Saigon TV airs every day at 7 p.m. on Channel 315.
You will all bow down to me! See what comes of those who disobey our laws!
Assassin's Creed. Available November 14th. Rated M for mature. Check out exclusive behind-the-scenes videos only at GameInvasion.net/Assassin's Creed.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Welcome to a world deeply immersed in liquidity. A world where products and services are exchanged more efficiently. Where futures look bright. And where new products evolve at warp speed. NYSE Euronext. One market, infinite possibilities.
Our Carol Costello is monitoring stories incoming to the Situation Room right now. Carol, what are you looking at?
Oh, well, you know what, Suzanne. Holiday cheer, mobs of people throwing elbows, shoving their way inside stores, and cramming up against each other in sneaking lines. It is Black Friday, of course, and it is, by the way, by any means necessary for many people trying to snag a super deal on electronics, clothing, and other items. Some shoppers started camping outside stores yesterday. This weekend marks the start of the holiday shopping season, which will account for about 10% of total holiday sales. The United Nations Weather Agency says 2 greenhouse gases are at their highest levels ever, and that it's likely to get even worse over the next few years. Experts add that one of those gases, carbon dioxide, is playing a bigger role in global warming. And you may not know his name, but you know his work very well. The man who created the way to rank hurricanes by Category 1 up to Category 5. Engineer Herbert Saffer died yesterday from complications of surgery. That's according to his son. He created the Hurricane Intensity Scale in 1969 to help people understand how potentially destructive different levels of hurricanes could be. Saffer was 90 years old. First, her name was disgraced. Now her accomplishments are stricken from the record books. Track star Marion Jones sees her track and field triumphs wiped out. The sport's governing body says that will apply to all her competitive results dating back 7 years just before the Sydney Olympics. All of this, of course, follows Jones' admitted use of steroids. The governing body also says Jones must forfeit and return all awards, medals, and money obtained in competitions. Back to you, Suzanne.
Carol, such a sad story. Thank you, Carol. Well, some people say it's downright wacky, but is it really time to scrap the way we pick our presidents? Well, some people think so, and they're on a bit of a political crusade. And, well, speaking of wacky, that could describe some of the questions we're getting for our CNN YouTube Republican presidential debate. There's certainly some very serious ones, but you're likely most to remember the more bizarre.
A typical business printer and a Kyocera printer. Both produce crisp black and white and brilliant color prints. Both are fast and reliable. But there's one big difference. The Kyocera printer could save you a lot of money versus your current printer. See for yourself with our online TCO tracker. Then make your move to Kyocera.
The whole world smiles with you.
People-friendly printers, only from Kyocera.
You can practice risk avoidance. You can aspire to blend in quietly. You can live in, wear, and drive social camouflage. And you can believe in the philosophy that the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. Or you can be the hammer.
From a meeting in Manhattan to a forum in Asia,
Davos, Frankfurt, St. Petersburg, person to person, place to place, deal by deal. Wherever ideas and industry come together, wherever money is being made, chances are we're there. And so are our clients. Morgan Stanley, worldwide.
Having trouble getting to work after a car accident? One call to Farmers Help Point could fix that. Farmers Help Point. Sanity makes a comeback.
I don't have prescription drug coverage.
We don't either. They all need a break on their prescriptions, and they all got one by getting this card, the Together RX Access Card.
That's for people like us.
People who don't have prescription drug coverage. Most cardholders save 25 to 40% on brand name prescriptions. You can save on generics, too.
It's free to get, and it's free to use.
If you meet these requirements and your household income isn't more than what you see here, then you qualify for the card. So call today or apply online.
Wednesday night, CNN's Campbell Brown goes inside the ruthless world of political attack ads. If we hate them so much,
It's enough to make you sick.
then why do they work so well? Broken government, the campaign killers. CNN Wednesday night, right after the CNN YouTube debate.
You're in the Situation Room, happening now, one day after the 44th anniversary of John F. Kennedy's assassination. A disturbing new claim that Lee Harvey Oswald might have never gotten the chance to kill Kennedy because others plotted to do that 3 weeks before Kennedy was assassinated. Also, a ship hits an iceberg and starts sinking in the ocean. Find out what happened to the 150 people on board. And fresh attempts to solve an international missing persons mystery. Police reanalyze some evidence regarding Natalie Holloway's disappearance in Aruba. And some suspects in the case face longer detentions. Wolf Blitzer's off today. I'm Suzanne Malveaux, and you're in the Situation Room. It's how we pick the leader of the free world, but many of you may not even know what it is or even how it works. Well, it's the Electoral College, the way Americans pick a president. Conceived long ago to make that process as fair and level as possible, some think it's time to scrap it. Our CNN's Jill Daugherty explains.
Suzanne, the Electoral College has been around in one form or another for 220 years. It was a compromise and has been controversial almost since the beginning. Some critics today call it undemocratic, a political dinosaur they want to kill off.
Maryland's historic State House, built during the American Revolution. These days, its lawmakers are taking aim at how Americans elect their president. It's the first state in the nation to reject the current Electoral College system.
The Electoral College is a wacky institution in our history, and there have been many attempts both in the Constitution and by the states to deal with it. Is our First Amendment right?
Soldier in this new revolution, Maryland State Senator and law professor Jamie Raskin.
We think we've come up with a pretty good way of dealing with it to get us to a national popular vote, which is what the vast majority of American people want.
You've heard of the Electoral College?
I don't know much about it. I remember learning about it in grade school.
But most Americans do remember the 2000 election, the fight over disputed ballots in Florida, when George W. Bush lost the popular election by nearly 544,000 votes, but won the Electoral College vote. It was the fourth time in American history that's happened. Just how does the Electoral College work? Americans go to the polls, but the results aren't official until electors in each of the states cast their votes. The number of electors each state gets depends on the number of U.S. senators and representatives they have. California, for example, gets 55 electoral votes. Montana gets only 3. In all but 2 states, it's a winner-take-all system, even if the vote in that state is close.
Under the National Popular Vote Plan, whoever gets a majority of votes nationwide wins. The Electoral College would be required to cast their votes for that national winner.
I mean, I'm just saying
that simple logic has won over several of Jamie Raskin's law students.
It's kind of a sham where you can
end up with a vote in the Electoral College that is at odds with the popular vote.
But some experts who ponder elections without the current Electoral College system warn it could splinter Americans into multiple parties, even lead to the election of populist tyrants.
We end up with something that might even look like a European system that we don't like very much, and we guarantee virtually some sort of runoff election. So we have more elections than we need.
Polls by Gallup have consistently found that some 2/3 of Americans favor a national popular vote for president. But just down the street from Maryland State House, even husbands and wives can't agree. Just listen to Michael and Sherilyn Muir, both lawyers.
It's actually a good system that served us well throughout our country's history.
No, I like the popular vote. I think it is something we should consider.
Legislative chambers in 7 states have passed bills in favor of a national popular vote. But many more would need to reject the current Electoral College for a national popular vote to become reality. The United States may have been born in revolution, but when it comes to presidential elections, it seems to prefer evolution. This isn't the first time critics have proposed getting rid of the Electoral College, but so far no one's been able to do it. Americans prize democracy, but they also value stability. Suzanne?
And currently, there, as Jill mentioned, only 2 states currently that do not follow the winner-take-all rule for the Electoral College. Those states are Maine and Nebraska. Maine has 4 electoral votes, and Nebraska has 5. Both states use a proportional system in which their electoral votes are allocated by congressional district. Meanwhile, some people in one state are trying to revamp the way votes are doled out in the presidential election. But not everybody is happy about this. Our CNN senior political analyst Bill Schneider has those details.
Suzanne, remember hearing about a ballot measure that would change the way California casts its electoral votes? It was supposed to be dead. Well, guess what? It's come back to life. A national political battle is being fought out in California, but the voters there don't seem to know or care much about it. National Republican money is coming into California to pay for gathering petition signatures to qualify a ballot measure that would divide California's electoral votes.
If this passed, rather than 55 electoral votes going to the Democratic candidate, you would probably have about 35 going to the Democrat and 20 going to the Republican candidate. So that could have a major impact on how we elect the president in 2008.
You bet it would. 20 electoral votes is as many as the whole state of Ohio. If the measure qualifies for the ballot, the deadline is next week, Republicans will argue that it's fairer. Why should the 44% of Californians who voted for George W. Bush in 2004 not get a single electoral vote for their effort? It would also bring the presidential campaign to California. Right now, the state feels like an ATM machine. Candidates raise money in California and spend it somewhere else. Democrats will argue it's unfair to split up California's electoral votes unless other big states do the same thing.
The Democrats will say it's a power grab.
That's one thing Democrats have going for them: voter skepticism.
It's very hard to see that there's any major issue here that the voters care about. Generally, they have refused to involve themselves when the fight is between the two parties. They say, "Gee, that's not my fight."
When California voters don't understand or care much about a ballot measure, they usually vote no. They figure somebody's up to something. A lot of the money behind the California ballot measure is coming from Republicans with ties to Rudy Giuliani, and a lot of the effort to stop it is coming from the Hillary Clinton forces. It's turning into an early showdown between the two frontrunners, and the voters of California don't even know it. Suzanne?
Well, you're asking, and the Republican presidential candidates will answer.
Would you be willing to open up Guantanamo Bay to public viewing?
That is just one possible question the candidates could get in our CNN YouTube debate. We'll preview questions that you are sending in. And it is football season, but our strategists will talk about tackles on the campaign field. They'll pull out their playbooks and offer advice to Democrats and Republicans on how to win in Iowa. And could John F. Kennedy have been killed 3 weeks before he was actually assassinated? There are some startling claims you might not believe.
as a free nation.
Let me tell you about a very important phone call I made. When I got my Medicare card, I realized I needed an AARP Medicare Supplement insurance card too.
One simple call gave me the chance to talk with a personal health insurance advisor
Who answered all my questions about Medicare Supplement plans, so I could understand it all. After I called, I was able to choose the plan that was right for me.
If you're already on or eligible for Medicare, call now to find out how an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, helps you pay some of the 20% of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare Part B. That can save you from paying thousands of dollars out of your own pocket. These are the only Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans exclusively endorsed by AARP, a name you trust. When you call now, we'll send you this free information kit with all you need to enroll, so you can join the millions of people who've already trusted us for their Medicare Supplement insurance. Plus, we'll send you this free guide to understanding Medicare.
The prices are competitive. I can keep my own doctor and choose my own hospital.
and I don't need a referral to see a specialist.
Call now to get the free information kit. Plus, we'll include this free Medicare guide. And the advantages don't end there. You can choose from a wide range of plans that are all competitively priced, so you can find a plan that best fits your needs and budget. There are virtually no claim forms to fill out. And best of all, they're the only Medicare supplement plans endorsed by AARP.
When they told me these plans were endorsed by AARP,
I had only one thing to say. Sign me up.
Call now, 1-800-495-9137, and let us help you choose the right plan. So call now, 1-800-495-9137, and find out about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan. A personal health insurance advisor is waiting for your call.
She owns a house in Palm Beach, a villa in St. Bart's, a condo in Sun Valley. And yet, a piece of her still lives on a cul-de-sac in Ohio. Today's wealth needs today's wealth management. U.S. Trust.
As an investor, you want someone to be there for you, and not just when the market's open or if your account is big enough. TD Ameritrade offers 24/7 phone support from licensed staff in 100 branch offices. Ask a question, get help with a retirement plan, someone's always there. With TD Ameritrade, you make your own decisions, but you're never really alone. Independence is the spirit that drives America's most successful investors.
Well, the Democrats made presidential campaign history by taking part in our first-of-its-kind CNN YouTube debate. Now, Republicans are about to get their chance at answering questions submitted by voters online. The first CNN YouTube debate was groundbreaking in its format, and it raised provocative issues for the Democrats, including whether or not to open a dialogue with Iran and other nations hostile to the United States. Just take a listen to this.
Would you be willing to meet separately, without precondition, during the first year of your administration in Washington or anywhere else, with the leaders of Iran, Syria, Venezuela, Cuba, and North Korea, in order to bridge the gap that divides our countries?
I would. And the reason is this, that the notion that somehow not talking to countries is punishment to them, which has been the guiding diplomatic principle of this administration, is ridiculous.
Well, I will not promise to meet with the leaders of these countries during my first year. I will promise a very vigorous diplomatic effort, because I think it is not that you promise a meeting at that high a level before you know what the intentions are. I don't want to be used for propaganda purposes.
Well, some of the questions raised eyebrows as well. Do you remember the talking snowman?
Hello, Democratic candidates. I've been growing concerned that global warming is...
Well, some Republican candidates were reluctant to answer questions from the likes of talking snowman, but now the GOP contenders are set to take part in the next CNN YouTube debate this coming Wednesday in St. Petersburg, Florida. CNN's Josh Levs has been looking over the questions submitted online. What does it look like? What's the response?
It is no less fun. It is so... I've had the best time the last couple of days. I've been piecing through hours of these questions.
I love what we do. You got to see some of this stuff. I mean, people are not holding back. And folks, we are getting inundated with questions, not just from all over the country, but from Americans living all over the world. And no surprise, people are not holding back. The Republican candidates can run, but they cannot hide from your questions in the CNN YouTube debate, which may include some sharp jabs.
What are you going to do to return the civil liberties to the American people and stop these outrageous acts on our security and our privacy?
Some offer personal stories, like this man who says he's a gay registered Republican.
But a vote for you is a vote against my family.
A few bring up some of the wackier topics on Earth or beyond.
UFOs and aliens.
Maybe he ought to be asking this YouTuber.
I am one of many from another dimension.
Around 4,000 questions are in, more than the 3,000 sent in for the Democratic debate in July. All the questions are viewable online, and we're not saying which ones may be used, just giving you a taste of what we're getting.
What are you going to do as president to ensure diversity in your administration?
There are unique spins on expected subjects like Iraq, taxes, and the national debt. Some want specific.
Would you be willing to open up Guantanamo Bay to public viewing?
There are serious subjects that don't often make the headlines.
But what about the war going on in your own country? Black on black crime.
And questions all about character.
What is your one greatest strength and your one greatest weakness?
Getting candidates to admit weaknesses? Good luck. Maybe he's in cahoots with this guy who apparently wants to lull the candidates into some form of hypnosis, though there are plenty of characters to keep them on their toes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Left the building, right? All right, well, the debate is going to be Wednesday night in St. Petersburg, and it's not too late to submit your questions. The deadline for those questions is this Sunday night at midnight. Just go to CNN.com, click on politics. You'll see the link. It'll trace you through exactly what you got to do. Even, Suzanne, even if you're not that tech savvy, people can handle this.
Okay, well,
so good.
Already fascinating, interesting stuff. Now, have you been told which questions are actually going to be used?
No, they won't tell me.
They won't tell me?
No, there's this secret cabal that's decides this stuff. It's like in a hidden room. So have they told you?
No, I have no
really?
idea. No,
I
don't
feel
know.
so much better. See, if they haven't told Suzanne Malveaux, they're totally not going to tell me, so I feel better.
All right, Josh, looking forward to it. Thanks, Josh. And in the strategy session, the clock's ticking and the days are dwindling between now and the kickoff to primary season, the Iowa caucuses. Our strategists have words of wisdom for the three Democrats whose fate may be made or lost in Iowa. And the Republicans whose time, money, and energy spent there may not be enough. Donna Brazil and John Ferry are standing by here in the Situation Room.
The CNN YouTube Republican debate is sponsored by Americans for Balanced Energy Choices.
Throughout history, new ideas have often been met with skepticism. But technology born from American ingenuity can achieve amazing things. We're committed to a future in which our most abundant fuel, coal, generates our electricity with even lower emissions, including the capture and storage of CO2. It's a big challenge, but we've made a commitment. A commitment to clean. Learn more about clean coal at americaspower.org.
Introducing the D64 series, the slimmest, lightest Aquas ever. From the leading innovator in liquid crystal television, Sharp.
1 week from tonight, the dark side of Putin's Russia. Chris John and investigates Tsar Putin. CNN 1 week from tonight.
Hey, the holidays are with us once again, and we are with the owners of Mattress World, Sherry and John Heiner, once again, celebrating a giant Thanksgiving weekend sale. Sherry, you've got something the competition really cannot touch.
We have mattresses starting at $89 each piece when you buy the set. That's twin, full, queen, or king.
And that's at all Mattress World locations. Now, Sherry, you got a queen pillow top.
Queen size pillow top set for just $4.99, and that includes 2 free pillows.
I tell you, if you have relatives coming in, it's great. John's selection is just terrific.
Largest selection in the Northwest. Sealy, Simmons, Stearns & Foster, Carrington Chase, Comfortpedic, Englander, you name it, we have it. Memory foam, latex, air beds, innerspring mattresses. It's all under one roof.
And it's all available with great terms.
1 year, no interest, no payments.
Hey, John, something ends this weekend.
This is the final weekend to buy a bed, get a second bed free. It's a $500 value, and it's free to you.
Hey, Mattress World all weekend long celebrating a giant Thanksgiving sale. That's Mattress World. Where?
It's not too late to sleep like a baby.
Sometimes it's hard to ask for help.
Your community pharmacy needs your help. Currently, 2 pieces of critical legislation await action by federal legislators. Pharmacies promptly pay drug companies every 2 weeks for medicine supplies, but may not be reimbursed from insurance plans for many months.
Whether you frequently visit Good Neighbor Pharmacy or not, go now and take just a minute to get your easy-to-understand legislative fact sheet.
We need your help. Pick up your legislative information at any of these locations.
It's the season for sharing. Learn more about individuals, families, and nonprofit organizations who need your help through the Oregonian Season of Sharing program. Then give a gift that makes holiday spirits soar. 100% of your tax-deductible donation will be used to help people in need. Comcast is proud to sponsor the 76th annual Season of Sharing. Pick up today's Oregonian or visit OregonLive.com and share.
Tonight, 7 Eastern on CNN.
Doesn't anybody deserve a government that works?
Competitors trying to take down rivals' teams intensely plotting their strategies, and on the sidelines, spectators cheering and booing. What may sound like a football game is actually the race to win the Iowa caucuses. Here to play coach on how candidates might win are CNN political analyst Donna Brazile, a Democratic strategist, and Republican strategist John Fury. Now, Donna, we're going to start off with you kind of playing coach for all the different candidates here. Let's first start off with Senator Clinton. She's ahead nationally, wide margin with Barack Obama, but we've seen it close, and it's almost, I guess, a statistical dead heat in Iowa. What does she need to do?
Well, her theme has been that she's ready to lead from day one when she gets into the White House. So I think she needs to articulate her vision. What's her vision? Where is she going to take us as a nation? Look, we don't want to go back down memory lane. We want to go forward. The next president will inherit a divided country, will inherit great challenges. Tell us what you plan to do. Secondly, I would advise Senator Clinton to address her vulnerabilities. She's been called too cautious, too calculating. Talk about, go back to her experience, her strength. Talk about what she has accomplished so people feel more comfortable with her as a person. Look, she's taken some tough positions on some very controversial issues. Highlight the positive, and I think Senator Clinton can remain in the lead position.
Now, Barack Obama, we've really seen, just within the last week or so, really catching up when it comes to Iowa and some of the other states here. Obviously, he's developed relationships in that critical state. What does he need to do to maintain that?
First of all, I think Senator Obama needs to go back to that theme, the change we can all believe in. Most Americans want to believe that the next president of the United States will bring us together, will unite the country around controversial issues, will help us get out of Iraq. I think Senator Obama needs to go back to doing that and not focus all his time on attacking Senator Clinton. She has her problems. He needs to go back to that positive theme that he put out there from day one.
And John Edwards consistently in third place, but also kind of laying back a little bit here. Does he just let the other two fight it out?
Oh, absolutely not. Look, he's thrown a lot of, he's like the kid who throws mud and hides his hand behind his back. I think he needs to go back to being the John Edwards of 2004, someone that we could believe in, someone who started his campaign in 2008 in New Orleans in the 9th Ward. So go back to addressing those tough issues.
John, let's take on the Republicans here. Obviously, Mitt Romney, all this money and time in Iowa, and Huckabee's at his heels. What does he do?
Romney's going to keep the focus on illegal immigration as the #1 issue for Iowans right now and the Republican base, and also he has to stay positive. If he goes negative, what happened to Howard Dean in the last election might happen to him, where he loses a big lead. He doesn't want to lose that big lead by going negative on Mike Huckabee, who he's hearing his footsteps. He wants to make sure he stays positive.
And Huckabee, how does he maintain that?
I think he does two things. First, he expands. He excites his base, which is the Christian conservative base, and they're really important in caucuses. They come out more than heavily than anybody else. And then he's got to expand the base. And by that I mean he's got to go after the economic populists in Iowa. It's a very populist state, and he is the only top-tier candidate who has an economic populism message, and I think he can expand that base by talking about those type of issues.
Is Giuliani getting old at this point?
Well, I think Rudy made a mistake early on by deciding not to playing the straw poll. So right now he's got two things. First of all, he's got to play down expectations because he's not going to win. And third place would be good for him. Second, I think he's got to pray that Huckabee knocks out Romney, because what's bad for Romney is good for Rudy.
All right, thanks. Coaching on both sides. We'll see how it all plays out if they listen to either one of you. Do you have anything you want to take on that John has said about advice to the Republicans?
No, I thought he gave good advice, especially to Rudy. But look, I also think that John Edwards needs to write himself a check. He has money. He should spend money this month and next month to win those Iowa caucuses, because if he loses, he's out of it.
So YouTube debate with the Republicans is coming up next week. Who's likely to perform well here, one-on-one, facing off with the voters?
I think the two guys who are best quipsters and off the cuff are Giuliani and McCain, and those are the ones I think that can go with the flow. McCain's very good off the cuff. He's got a good sense of humor. I think Rudy's the same way.
Who's going to suffer?
McCain needs to worry about Ron Paul. Ron Paul is catching fire up in New Hampshire. McCain needs to douse that fire before it consumes his campaign.
I agree with that. Ron Paul's raised a lot of money. He's got a lot of silent admirers who will come out in the caucuses. A lot of independents, too.
So what about Ron Paul? Does he actually have a chance of coming back?
No, but he's the gadfly of this race. People enjoy listening to it, what he has to say, but I think he could pose some trouble to John McCain on the Republican side.
He's like that football team that's just not that good, but can knock off the #1 contender, and he's kind of the spoiler. And he can do that with McCain. He can be the spoiler for McCain by coming in third. And he excites a lot of people that don't traditionally come out and vote.
So what if Rudy loses in Iowa, New Hampshire? Can he still make it? Can he win the nomination?
I think it's going to be hard for him to get momentum and to really refuel his campaign to win in Florida and beyond. Look, I also believe on the Democratic side that Joe Biden, Chris Dodd, Bill Richardson, they're out there really competing in Iowa, so I wouldn't be surprised if one or two of those candidates end up with double digits.
I respectfully disagree with Don on Rudy. He is not actually planning on winning either Iowa or New Hampshire, and so his whole strategy is based on a 50-state strategy. Now, we'll see if that works, but that's how he's planned it, and if his plan comes out, I think he still has a shot.
Is there any question that the candidates should avoid in the YouTube debate here? So anything that could possibly get them into really big trouble?
I think they need to go beyond immigration and border security, which clearly is a very important issue. But talk about the middle class. The middle class is hurting. People out there are afraid they're losing their homes. I think they should address economic issues beyond tax cuts.
John?
I'm trying to think. I can't, it's hard because you don't want to be seen avoiding big questions of the day. I mean, you want to be careful on the immigration questions so that you're going after the illegal activity, not legal immigrants. And Republicans have to do a better job of talking about the legal immigrants who come into this country, work hard and actually contribute a lot to this economy.
Okay, we're looking forward to seeing the YouTube debate. Some of the tough questions, obviously, that are going to come about. All right, Donna, thank you. Thank you, John, as well. Is one of Mitt Romney's most important supporters wishing he could eat his own words?
I've always, being from New Hampshire, viewed Iowa as being a place where they pick corn and New Hampshire being a place where we pick presidents.
Well, that's from New Hampshire Senator Judd Gregg right here in the Situation Room, and it is forcing Mitt Romney to respond. Ready or not, that's what some people wonder about New Orleans' ability to hold a presidential debate. But some in the city are insulted even at that question. And one man talks about shopping and sinning. There's a push to get you to stop shopping this holiday season. To help convince you of that, some are asking, what would Jesus buy?
I think CNN equals politics in the Situation Room. #1 in politics. #1 across America. #1 at 4 p.m. More than Fox. More than MSNBC. CNN equals politics, and politics equals the Situation Room.
Closed captioning hours provided by Senecot. Works gently, works overnight.
I switched to Senecot tablets, a predictable overnight laxative that lets me stay on schedule, just like the train.
Senecot tablets. Works on your schedule.
Larry King tonight. Get a double dose of Larry King. Starting at 9, Rumba with a finalist from Dancing with the Stars. Then at 10, the show everyone is talking about, Dr. Jan Adams. Larry King, tonight, only on CNN.
At Infiniti, we believe a vehicle should deliver all-wheel control when you need it and V8 performance when you want it. Introducing the new Infiniti V8 M45 with intelligent all-wheel drive. A driver's car, inside and out. The new M from Infiniti.
I'm Bruce Johnson, and I'm an inventor. I was always congested at night, and that meant a bad night of sleep. I tried everything from padded paper clips to straws. Finally, one night I was laying in bed and I thought, outside of the nose, not inside.
Inside Breathe Right nasal strips are 2 plastic bands that lift open nasal passages so you breathe better and sleep better.
My nasal passages stay open. I can breathe really quite relaxed.
If you have a cold, allergies, deviated septum, or snore, try Breathe Right and you'll notice a difference.
Now through Sunday at Joseph A. Bank. Handcrafted camel hair blazers and Harris tweed sport coats, an incredible $149. Luxurious leather jackets, regularly $550 to $600, only $179. Plus extra bonuses like the entire stock of Traveler dress shirts and sports shirts, 2 for $99. Only at Joseph A. Bank. Now through Sunday.
Everything you need to stretch out on long trips. Residence Inn. Everything you need to stay balanced on long trips. Residence Inn.
They want a sequel now. How are we supposed to get in touch with these people? Watch and learn.
Talk to me.
Sequels greenlit.
How greenlit?
How green is money?
Got to get this thing together. Are you in or are you out?
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to a network where dream teams happen at the push of a button. Cisco, welcome to the Human Network.
On our political ticker this Friday, Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney is trying to make amends in Iowa. At a time when polls show Romney's lead in Iowa has diminished or even evaporated, it may not have been, well, a great time for one of his key supporters to diss the leadoff caucus state. Listen to what New Hampshire Senator Judd Gregg said here in the Situation Room earlier this week and what Romney is saying about it now.
I've always, being from New Hampshire, viewed Iowa as being a place where they pick corn and New Hampshire being a place where we pick presidents.
Both states are key states in picking the president. I'm sure the senator from New Hampshire is proud of his own state. I must admit, I like the process that we have in this country of selecting the nominee of each party. I like the fact that the first 2 states to focus on the candidates get to know the candidates on a personal basis.
We'll expect questions for Romney about Iowa's importance on Monday. He'll be Wolf Blitzer's guest right here in the Situation Room. And now that the fall presidential debate schedule is set, some people in New Orleans are feeling left out, and others feel downright snubbed. CNN's Sean Kalins joining us from New Orleans. And Sean, an angry reaction there to the fact that New Orleans did not make the cut to host a presidential debate.
Yeah, exactly, Suzanne. I think a lot of people here thought a debate would have been a great national platform for this city to show that, yes, it is indeed making progress, but that won't happen. And what the debate commission allegedly said to the city isn't playing well here.
New Orleans likes to put on a show.
Come on down, it's a party!
And is trying desperately to tell the world that it's coming back. So when New Orleans lost out in its effort to lure one of the presidential debates here, local organizers were more than a little miffed.
According to the commissioners who spoke to us, I was contacted by the co-chairman, Paul Kirk, and he said to me, quote, "The city isn't ready," which of course we feel is a terrific insult because of all the things that we have done.
That list includes 2 Mardi Gras with tens of thousands of tourists, the Sugar Bowl, Jazz Fest, large conventions, and New Orleans is hosting this year's NBA All-Star Game in a few months. The co-chair of the debate commission says he wants to set the record straight.
It's not a question of whether you can hold a major event or not hold a major event. I think they can hold major events. They've proven that.
We've got a lot of work to do here in New Orleans.
7 presidential candidates, 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans, signed letters asking the commission to hold one of the 4 scheduled debates in New Orleans. Women of the Storm, which was formed in the aftermath of Katrina, worked with 4 universities in the city to sponsor the debate and believe the snub sets back efforts to rebuild.
Right after 9/11, the Republican National Convention chose to go to New York to showcase New York, to talk about the war on terror, but also to help the community of New York heal and bring tourists back to their city.
There were other cities, Chicago, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Miami, Portland, Oregon, that were unsuccessful. There's no allegation by them that somehow we were dissing their city.
But there will be no convincing a battered city that politics kept the commission from doing the right thing.
And aside from the 5 candidates who thought the debate should be here, the USA Today, New York Times, and Washington Post also wrote editorials saying New Orleans deserves a shot at the debate. Suzanne?
Thanks, Sean. Well, you're in the Situation Room. Happening now, were hitmen targeting President John Kennedy in Chicago just weeks before his assassination in Dallas. We'll show you who's revealing details of a new alleged plot. Also, they are used by the military now. One local police force is getting a drone of its own. But what do they plan to do with it? And one of America's most popular pastors, Joel Osteen, joins us, weighing in on hot-button issues, including gay rights. Find out why he says homosexuality is, quote, not God's best. Wolf Blitzer's off today. I'm Suzanne Malveaux, and you're in the Situation Room. In Afghanistan, deadly fighting between NATO forces and Taliban militants. CNN international security correspondent Paula Newton reports that Taliban forces are posing a growing threat. Paula?
Suzanne, critical moments for this mission here in Afghanistan. And what goes on in the next few months could determine whether or not more U.S. troops will be called to fight here. They're taking the war to them, house by house. In the words of combat soldiers here, squeezing the Taliban till they can't breathe. But as fast as NATO forces can clear them, Taliban lie in wait and retaliate with still more savage tactics, soldiers say, using civilians, even children, as human shields.
You see? Yeah, they can use that as a detonator.
Laying deadly trails of IEDs, improvised explosive devices, and suicide attacks are back in record numbers. This doesn't look like progress.
Next one, mini-me!
To get that, still more troops must take on the Taliban.
Contact with the Taliban, and he has from his friend that where is some of the
Here they taunt Dutch NATO troops by radio. We are the sons of George Bush, they say. And they will get the better of Allied troops if reinforcements aren't found, and fast. NATO commanders couldn't be more blunt.
It will take longer. It will be more expensive in terms of cost of killed and wounded to every nation participating.
Afghan civilians couldn't be more desperate. If you let the Taliban back, this mullah pleads, you might as well have not come at all. NATO Secretary General took all this in as CNN was given exclusive access to his tour of Afghanistan. For months, he's been waging a losing battle of his own. He wants more NATO allies here and isn't getting it. The Dutch and Canadians are considering pulling out. Other allies are refusing to take on combat roles.
Patience. Development means also patience.
It's very clear that some of the contributing countries are running out of patience.
Yeah, and it's up to me and up to others to say if you're now running out of patience, you spoil a very worthwhile process.
This is a turning point for Afghanistan. Development has been slow but consistent. The Taliban could change all that. And so what's being discussed more and more now in Afghanistan is moving beyond the military options into something that might be just as risky, engaging, negotiating with the Taliban. President Hamid Karzai now says he's been increasing his contact with some Taliban leaders, including a half-dozen times just this week.
We are willing to talk to those of the Taliban who are not part of Al-Qaeda or the terrorist networks who do not want to be violent against the Afghan people.
This effort towards conciliation is extraordinary, and it's motivated by what goes on every day on the battlefields here. NATO forces still win every time they take on the Taliban. Problem is, they could still lose the war. That move would be extraordinary and so motivated by what's going on the battlefields here. You know, every time NATO allies take on the Taliban, they win the battle. But some say they could still end up losing the war. Suzanne?
Thank you, Paula. And a very high bar set for Tuesday's Mideast Summit in Annapolis, Maryland, with Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice saying that the goal is a peace deal by the time President Bush leaves office. Well, the big question, of course, is can the administration pull it off? CNN State Department correspondent Zain Verjee joining us live. Zain, is this not a shift of focus for the administration to tackle this now?
Hi, Suzanne. Well, yes, it is really. The war in Iraq, as well as Iran's nuclear program, have really been the Bush administration's main focus. Now, for the first time in 7 years, the Israeli-Palestinian crisis is now on the front burner.
It may be Condoleezza Rice's biggest gamble yet. Can she close a Mideast peace deal by the end of the year, the prize that has eluded others for so long? Rice says she'll give it her best shot.
This is the launching pad for serious efforts between the two to negotiate the establishment of a Palestinian state.
Still unknown, after the short launch, will the Bush administration keep the pressure on after Annapolis? Like anything in the Middle East, Rice risks failure.
Even if she took the ball 50 yards and doesn't go goal line to goal line, we'll be much better off. And if she does nothing, we know that the radicals are going to score.
Arab countries like Saudi Arabia say they're coming but want substance, not just show.
These kind of conferences are more of a photo op than substantive conferences. There will be no negotiations during the meeting. It's a one-day affair.
On the Annapolis guest list, more than 40 countries. One glaring absence, Hamas. It was elected by Palestinians but is designated a terrorist group by the U.S. Hamas is a deadly enemy to the Palestinian president coming to Annapolis. It controls 1 million Palestinians in Gaza and is calling the conference stillborn. Also not invited, Iran. But many say Iran supports the militant Palestinian group Hamas and is a player. Even though Rice has managed to call this conference, her critics have long doubted that she can seal any deal before leaving office in just over a year from now.
But if Secretary Rice is able to pull it off, it's going to define her legacy and the administration's. Suzanne?
So, Zain, why would they push for this now?
Well, the administration has always said that this has always been a priority, but analysts say that that's not the case. They say that there's actually been a lot more pressure from Arab countries on the U.S. to do a lot more on this front. The U.S. also needs Arab countries' help and support in Iraq, and it wants them on board with a coalition against Iran. The Bush administration, Suzanne, may not also want its legacy just to be Iraq only, and any success on the Israeli-Palestinian front would be a real feather in their caps.
Zain, thank you so much. Earlier this month, Condoleezza Rice made her 13th trip to Israel, making it her most visited country as Secretary of State. But despite her efforts, during that time, Hamas won parliamentary elections. Israel went to war with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and Hamas gained control of Gaza, fracturing the U.S.-backed Palestinian government. Privacy advocates say Americans are being exposed to a troubling new level of government scrutiny because of their cell phones. CNN Justice correspondent Kelly Arena joining us live. Kelly, what is up with the cell phones? What's the issue with the cell phones?
Well, you may not realize it, but cell phones can be used as a tracking device. And experts say that the laws governing how that information can be used are just way too murky.
Thanks to the latest technology, experts say that cell phones can help track people within a city block in real time, even if your phone is turned off. But just who can get access to that information, and under what circumstances? Mark Rotenberg is a privacy advocate.
I think we need some very clear guidance in this area, both on the legal side and on the technology side.
It's a tool increasingly used by law enforcement, working things like child abduction cases and drug investigations. Prosecutors have to go before a judge to get access to that information, but there's a big debate over the standard of evidence that they must present.
And the question comes down to this: what does the government need to prove or assert before the telephone company can be required to provide this information about one of its customers.
Justice officials say their lawyers have been told to prove there is probable cause that a crime is about to or has taken place. But that doesn't always happen. Judges sometimes rule the information can be turned over anyway because it's relevant to an ongoing investigation. David Loffman is a former federal prosecutor.
The government would take the position that this is not intrusive enough to require a showing of probable cause, in particular because no content of the communications is obtained by the information provided by the communications carriers.
The Justice Department argues that it's not interested in tracking law-abiding citizens, but this is just another one of those topics being debated mostly in the dark. That's because the requests for information and subsequent judges' orders are often kept secret, Suzanne.
Well, it's good to bring it out in the open. Thank you so much, Kelly. And no media allowed, the test you were not supposed to see. Unmanned drones pressed into action for law enforcement. Will eyes in the sky soon be watching you? Also, televangelist Joel Osteen. Find out why he's not preaching politics this election year and focusing on the family. And it looks like, well, the Titanic, a passenger ship sinking in the Antarctic. You're in the Situation Room.
$80,000 people in 50 countries. And yet every day, a two-person financial operation. You and us. UBS.
Introducing the D64 series. The slimmest, lightest Aquas ever. From the leading innovator in liquid crystal television, Sharp.
I liked how they wanted to know me as a person before they matched me up with someone else.
To get to know you as a person, that's what eHarmony is all about. Log on to eHarmony.com, where it's absolutely free to review your matches.
Last winter I had a heart attack. I believe Bayer saved my life. The doctor said, take the Bayer now. If I didn't have it, I might not be here. And then who'd take the spider out of the bathtub?
Genuine Bayer aspirin. Painkiller, lifesaver.
I expect to stick around for a while.
Bayer, expect wonders. Bayer Children's Aspirin is now Bayer Chewable Aspirin. Same children's aspirin, new name, new look.
This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever you go, nationwide, your coverage travels with you. And that's just one of the many reasons you need the card you can trust. Because with AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans, you get a full range of plans, personal health insurance advisors, and so much more. If you're turning 65 or older, or you've already enrolled in a Medicare Supplement plan, call for this free information kit and Medicare Guide. These are the only Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans exclusively endorsed by AARP. These plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, help cover some of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare alone. Want your choice of doctors or hospitals, virtually no claim forms, and no referrals needed to see a specialist? Remember, our Medicare supplement plans work with any standalone Medicare drug plans. Call now so you're covered for both. Yep, this is one great card.
A Texas mystery solved, at least partially. We now know Houston police are going to start using unmanned drone aircraft. But the question remains, well, for what? Stephen Dean of CNN affiliate KPRC got an exclusive look.
Neighbors accustomed to livestock and wide open land had no idea what to make of all this. Black trucks, satellite dishes, a radar swirling, and a portable launch pad with something covered up. At the entrance to this Waller County ranch was a Houston police roadblock, checking all the dignitaries arriving for this secret test. Their invitation spelled out no media allowed. We tried to ask this HPD lieutenant on his way back out.
They'll be coming out here in a minute.
They all gathered around the launch pad, big shots with police departments from all over the Houston area. And now, the show they came for, the test you were not supposed to see.
It's an unmanned drone aircraft. HPD, the Federal Department of Homeland Security, and other invited guests all watching to see how this drone could be used for police work in and around Houston.
We tracked that drone from News Chopper 2, and that drone was able to use a high-powered camera to track us. Those cameras can actually look into people's homes or even follow them in moving cars, which raises all sorts of new questions.
One issue is going to be law enforcement using this, and when, by using these drones, are they conducting a search in which they would need probable cause or a warrant.
The military's been dropping bombs and using drones for secret war zone surveillance for years. And last month, the California wildfires were snuffed out with drones joining the other firefighting tankers in the air. This drone is made by a Washington state firm called In Situ. They weigh about 40 pounds, but they can carry 15 pounds more in police gear. They can stay airborne over Houston 15 to 24 hours without landing.
I wasn't ready to publicize this.
HPD quickly hustled together a news conference when it realized our cameras were there for the entire secret test.
Potential public safety applications include mobility, evacuations, homeland security, search and rescue, as well as tactical.
Executive Assistant Chief Martha Montalvo admits that could mean covert police action, but she says it's too early to tell what else HPD will do with the aircraft. Maybe these guys know. We saw many ticket writers from HPD's radar task force, so we asked, are these drones headed for ticketing speeders from the sky?
I'm not ruling anything out.
Back at the secret test site, police helicopter pilots claimed the entire airspace was restricted. They even threatened our Local 2 Investigates pilot with action from the FAA if we didn't leave. But we checked with FAA several times and there never was a flight restriction. That leaves some to wonder whether the police are now ready to use terrorism fears since 9/11 to push the envelope even further into our private lives.
We see that some of these technologies that were being used in the aftermath of 9/11 that we thought were necessary to protect our security in that time are now being used to diminish privacy in other contexts, and that is extremely worrisome.
That was Stephen Dean of KPRC reporting. Well, we're learning more about the American student who's one of the suspects in a slaying of a British student in Italy. Amanda Knox wrote a lengthy statement shortly after she was arrested. Our CNN's Jennifer Eccleston reports.
Suzanne, it's a revealing insight into the mind of a very confused young woman who's accused of a very serious crime here in Italy. Hours after her arrest on November 6th, Amanda Knox asked Italian police for a pen and paper, and she began to write a rambling 4-page statement now obtained by CNN. It carries the stamp of the Perugia police. A source in the prosecutor's office says it is authentic. In a neat hand, Knox writes, "I know I didn't kill Meredith. That's all I know for sure." Her roommate, Meredith Kircher, was murdered on November 1st. The investigating judge says her throat was cut after an attempted sexual assault. Knox writes, "These things seem unreal to me, like a dream." She also talks about her Italian boyfriend, Raffaele Sollecito. Knox maintains she was at his home that night and says, "After dinner, I noticed there was blood on Raffaele's hands, but I was under the impression it was blood from the fish." She says she doesn't think he killed Meredith Kircher, but now he is trying to find a way out by disassociating himself with me. Sollecito was arrested the same day as Knox. He has told police he was home alone at the time of the murder, surfing the web. They both deny involvement in her death, but prosecutors say they have sufficient evidence to make them prime suspects. Bar owner Patrick Lumumba is also a suspect, but has been released from prison for lack of evidence. He says he wasn't at the scene of the crime. In her statement, Knox writes, "In these flashbacks that I'm having, I see Patrick as the murderer, but the way the truth feels in my mind, there is no way for me to have known." A sign of her confused thoughts that night. Attempts to reach Knox's attorney were unsuccessful, but towards the end of her statement she asks, who is the real murderer? It's a question everyone here is still asking. each day brings new developments in this complicated case as police try to determine who killed Meredith Kercher and why. Suzanne?
Thank you. A disaster at sea, a cruise ship sinking right now near Antarctica. We'll show you what's happening and the dramatic rescue of passengers and crew. Plus, hugely popular TV pastor and author Joel Osteen. What does he think the greatest threat is facing America? Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
I have written my story upon these pages. I've been a cup, I've been a plate. I have worn smooth the handles of hammers and shovels. I've wrestled with barbed wire. I have never turned the pages of a Swedish furniture catalog. I'm always dirty, but my conscience is always clean.
You're out here for a reason. So are we. Tractor Supply Company. The stuff you need out here.
Throughout history, new ideas have often been met with skepticism. But technology born from American ingenuity can achieve amazing things. We're committed to a future in which our most abundant fuel, coal, generates our electricity with even lower emissions, including the capture and storage of CO2. It's a big challenge, but we've made a commitment. A commitment to clean. Learn more about clean coal at americaspower.org.
They want a sequel now. How are we supposed to get in touch with these people?
Watch and learn.
Talk to me.
Sequel's greenlit.
How greenlit?
How green is money?
Got to get this thing together. Are you in or are you out?
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to a network where dream teams happen at the push of a button. Cisco, welcome to the Human Network.
Double dose of Larry King, starting at 9. Finalists from Dancing with the Stars. Then at 10, Dr. Jan Adams. Larry King, tonight, only on CNN.
Never before have people with diabetes had a choice like this. Crunchy Glucerna cereals to start your day deliciously. Instead of spiking your blood sugar like an ordinary cereal, Glucerna cereals spike your taste buds. And with unique carbohydrate blends, both Glucerna cereals and shakes, now in reclosable bottles, can help you manage blood sugar so you can get out there and enjoy life. Glucerna, smart nutrition for people with diabetes. Find it near the pharmacy section of your local store.
At Comcast, we love math. For instance, Comcast offers 3 times more HD programming than DirecTV. The converse is also true. DirecTV offers only 1/3 the HD programming of Comcast. Nice one, math. Comcast offers HD On Demand, a fat library of HD movies and shows you can watch whenever. Satellite can't say that, unless they're dreaming one of those fat library of HD movies and shows only Comcast has. Dreams.
Czar Puddin', CNN, 1 week from tonight.
A cruise ship is on the verge of sinking in the icy waters off Antarctica in a scene that looks like the Titanic. Our CNN's Carol Costello joining us. Carol, passengers obviously getting a little bit more than they bargained for. It looks treacherous.
It was treacherous for a time, Suzanne. You know, they signed up for an adventure cruise. It's the thing in vacations right now. You don't cruise for relaxation, but for the thrill of it. But for those aboard the Canadian cruise ship Explorer, they got chills instead.
She's touted as a ship that can go where others cannot, designed to navigate the heavy, icy waters in the Antarctic, giving her passengers a chance to see incredible beauty. According to the Times Online of London, passengers paid $8,000 per cabin for what was billed as an adventure cruise. And they sure got one. The ship hit an iceberg. Imagine what you would think if you were on board. Titanic.
Iceberg, right ahead!
And like the Titanic, the Explorer began taking on water in the ship's engine room. The iceberg punched a fist-sized hole in the ship's hull.
Water began leaking in, but it was a very slow process. The pumps were managing the water quite well for several hours.
But the sea won, and the captain ordered 100 passengers to board the lifeboats. A rescue effort was mounted by British, Argentine, Chilean, and U.S. Coast Guards.
You cannot underestimate how difficult it is when a ship gets into trouble in somewhere like the Antarctic. You've got cold, you've got distance, you've got the fact that there will be no helicopters locally.
And even though it's spring in Antarctica, it is bitterly cold. These pictures were taken aboard a nearby ship. The temperature hovered around 24 degrees Fahrenheit. The water temperature was around 34 degrees.
The captain stayed on. Initially, the passengers were led into the lifeboats. The captain stayed on, and the crew stayed on. They were the last to actually leave.
They left only when it was clear the ship was sinking. For up to 3 frigid hours, 154 passengers and crew huddled in their life rafts until a Norwegian ship was able to rescue them. Captain Arnvid Hansen told the Times Online they were wet and cold when they came aboard. None of them have hypothermia. In fact, all are just fine and waiting for a plane to take them home.
Yeah, for that next adventure, the passengers are actually in the South Shetland Islands in Antarctica, and hopefully they're having some fun. In the meantime, the Explorer continues to sink almost completely on her side now.
And this was just from a fist-sized hole that caused that ship to sink like that?
Isn't that amazing? It was a fist-sized hole. They believe some cracks were coming out from the sides of the hole, but it took 2 hours for the water to overcome the pumps in the engine room, and then the captain sent everybody to the lifeboats. But yeah, that little hole.
A little bit too much adventure, I think, for me.
It's too cold in the Antarctica to be in a little lifeboat in the water.
Thanks, Carol, for the story. A popular evangelical leader who's decided to stay out of politics even in an election year.
Our congregation has many thousands, and there are Democrats, Republicans, Independents, people that are for the war, not for the war, and I believe I have to take the higher road and say, let me help you in your spiritual walk.
Joel Osteen in the Situation Room. He explains why he is sticking to religion in 2008. Plus, suspects in court. New evidence in the case of missing American teen Natalie Holloway. Do police now have enough to break the case? And what would Jesus buy? A one-man crusade against holiday shopping madness. Find out why he wants the world to buy nothing this season. You're in the Situation Room.
I don't have prescription drug coverage.
We don't either. They all need a break on their prescriptions, and they all got one by getting this card, the Together RX Access Card.
That's for people like us.
People who don't have prescription drug coverage. Most cardholders save 25 to 40% on brand name prescriptions. You can save on generics, too.
It's free to get, and it's free to use.
If you meet these requirements and your household income isn't more than what you see here, then you qualify for the card. So call today or apply online.
Breathe Right asks, what's keeping you awake tonight?
Allergy congestion, same as every night.
Another cold. Usually only lasts about 3 months.
When nasal congestion is keeping you awake, reach for Breathe Right, Original 10 or mentholated vapor strips. Whenever nasal congestion is a problem, the Breathe Right strips reflex action gently lifts open nasal passages to help you get more air. So everyone can sleep comfortably through the night. Breathe better, sleep better with Breathe Right, Original 10 or mentholated vapor strips.
Now through Sunday at Joseph A. Bank. Handcrafted camel hair blazers and Harris tweed sport coats, an incredible $149. Luxurious leather jackets, regularly $550 to $600, only $179. Plus extra bonuses like the entire stock of Traveler dress shirts and sports shirts, 2 for $99. Only at Joseph A. Bank. Now through Sunday.
CNN presents Heroes, an all-star tribute at 9 Eastern, hosted by Anderson Cooper. CNN Heroes, an all-star tribute live Thursday night, December 6th, 9 Eastern on the networks of CNN. Sponsored by the Johnson & Johnson Campaign for Nursing's Future.
Let me tell you about a very important phone call I made. When I got my Medicare card, I realized I needed an AARP Medicare Supplement insurance card too.
One simple call gave me the chance to talk with a personal health insurance advisor
Who answered all my questions about Medicare Supplement plans.
If you're already on or eligible for Medicare, call now to find out how an AARP Medicare Supplement insurance plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, helps you pay some of the 20% of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare Part B. That can save you thousands of dollars. These are the only Medicare Supplement insurance plans exclusively endorsed by AARP, a name you trust. When you call now, we'll send you this free information kit, plus this free guide to understanding Medicare.
I can keep my own doctor and choose my own hospital.
and I don't need a referral to see a specialist.
Call 1-800-673-4168 now. A personal health insurance advisor is waiting.
You're in the Situation Room. Happening now, the recent relative calm in Iraq is shattered. A bomb attack killed 13 people today in an outdoor pet market in Baghdad. Another bombing at a police checkout in Mosul also killed 13 people, 3 police officers, and 3 civilians. New York City may be on track to have fewer than 500 homicides this year. That total, projected by the New York Times, would be the lowest annual figure since reliable police statistics became available more than 4 decades ago. And Beijing is taking new steps to fight HIV and AIDS as it prepares to host the Olympics. The city has now ordered hotels to provide condoms in all bedrooms. The number of HIV and AIDS cases in Beijing soared 54% in the first 10 months of this year. Wolf Blitzer's off today. I'm Suzanne Malveaux, and you're in the Situation Room. The world, according to one of the country's most prominent television ministers, Joel Osteen, has a huge media ministry, a book on bettering your life, and an interesting perspective on politics, the issues, and what he believes is society's greatest enemy. He talked with all of that with our own Wolf Blitzer.
And joining us now from the CNN Center is Pastor Joel Osteen. He's the author of an important new book entitled Become a Better You, 7 Ways to Improving Your Life Every Day. Pastor, thanks very much for coming in.
Hey, thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you, Wolf.
We know you have a huge following, and your bestseller, Your Best Life Now, was the New York Times #1 bestseller for a long time. Let me read from your new book, this graph that sort of jumped out at me. One of the greatest threats we face in the 21st century is not a terrorist attack or an ecological catastrophe, but an attack on our homes. The enemy would love nothing more than to ruin your relationship with your husband or your wife, your parents, or your children. All right, the enemy. Who is the enemy that potentially would do that to our families?
Well, I think I'm talking more in a spiritual sense there, Wolf, that the enemy being forces, I call them forces of darkness. I think it started with the devil, we'd call it in Bible terms, but I just think that there are forces that are trying to pull our families apart today, and we have to be strong to stay together and keep strife and division out of our homes.
Well, beyond the devil, are there groups, organizations, individuals you feel are part of this group that you call the enemy?
No, I really don't. I don't really, I'm not going that, I'm not taking it that in that direction. It's more in the spiritual side, and just, I just really believe that there's things that try to pull us apart as a family, and so I'm seeing it more on the spiritual side.
Some evangelical pastors, leaders out there who get deeply involved in politics, others like you try to stay out of politics. Is there a right or a wrong course for an evangelical leader?
You know what, I don't think it's right or wrong. I think it's what God has put in your heart to do. And I just have never had any desire in that area. I have good friends that are very strong. They can get on there and debate, and they're much more political. So I don't know if it's right or wrong. I believe for me, what's right is to not get on the political side. Sometimes I believe that divides the very audience I'm trying to reach. And Wolf, in a church like ours, our congregation has many thousands, and there are Democrats, Republicans, independents, people that are for the war, not for the war, and I believe I have to take the higher road and say, let me help you in your spiritual walk.
What about on some of this, what many evangelicals would call the moral issues, whether abortion or gay rights? Do you get involved in trying to express your opinions on those sensitive issues?
You know what, I would say this, Wolf, I don't crusade against them or crusade to make my opinion known. I feel like my calling is to bring hope and encouragement, teach people how to live their everyday lives, but I'm not for abortion, and I don't think homosexuality is God's best, but I just try to stay in my calling, and our main thing is we're for everybody, to bring them hope and encouragement, and not to exclude a certain group from our following.
Explain why you think homosexuality is not God's best, because homosexuals believe that was the way God created them. They were born this way, to either love women or love men, and they had no choice in the matter, and this is simply the way God created them.
You know, Wolf, I can't say that I understand it all. I don't, when I read things like that, I don't know that I understand it all. I just go back to the foundation of my faith is based on the truth that I found in the Bible, and I only see, relationships between men and women is what, the way God created us to be. I'm not saying I condemn them. I'm not saying I understand it all, but I just, I have to say this is my core belief on the inside.
And what about same-sex marriage or same-sex unions? If two men love each other, want to spend the rest of their lives with each other, or two women love each other, should they be allowed to get the benefits, the rights that heterosexual couples have?
Well, if I'm just not up to speed on all that, I don't believe, again, that it's God's best for us to, say that a marriage is between a man. I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. I don't know about all the, technical issues. I'm certainly for everybody having a chance in life and being kind and respectful to everyone, but I just don't know if I'm up to speed on it all.
Have you ever considered running for office?
No, sir, I haven't. I've had people ask, but I just don't feel like, at this point, that's what I'm called to do. I just feel like, I'm doing what I was born to do right now.
So you don't think we should expect to hear you endorse a candidate, either a Democrat or Republican, or eventually when there's the nominees either side, you're going to stay out of it?
Yeah, I'm going to stay out of it. That's just, I don't believe that's in the best interest of what I feel like that I'm called to do.
The book is entitled Become a Better You, 7 Key Ways to Improving Your Life Every Day. I know a lot of people are going to read this and they're going to really get some better ways to improve their life. Thanks so much for coming in.
Hey, thanks, Wolf. My pleasure.
44 years and one day after President Kennedy's assassination, we are learning more about allegations that he was targeted in another city. Our CNN's Brian Todd looking into this. Brian, what have you pieced together?
Well, Suzanne, it seems to happen about this time every year, but there's buzz about another book on the death of John F. Kennedy and whether potential assassins were targeting him just weeks before his death. A former Secret Service agent tells CNN just before President Kennedy was to go to Chicago in early November 1963, the agency got an important tip. An employee of a boarding house had seen rifles with telescopic sights and an outline of Kennedy's motorcade route in a room rented by Cuban nationals. The former agent, Abraham Bolden, would not go on camera with us or do a phone interview. He's writing a book out next spring called The Echo from Dealey Plaza. Bolden admits he was not directly involved in the Secret Service investigation into the alleged plot, but in the 1970s he told the House Select Committee on Assassinations he learned about it by monitoring Secret Service radio channels and observing suspects in custody. A different author who's researched the alleged Chicago plot told us what he believes happened to the suspected Cuban hitmen.
From all indications, the surveillance on the two men was blown somehow, and so the two men were actually at large at the time that JFK was getting ready to leave Washington and come to Chicago.
Kennedy's trip to Chicago was canceled, but it's not clear if it was because of a security threat. Contacted by CNN, the Secret Service would not comment on Abraham Bolden's claim, but did tell us he was separated from the agency in 1964 after being convicted of a crime. Published reports say Bolden was convicted of soliciting bribes from a counterfeiter, but that his accuser later recanted. Bolden claims he was framed. Another author says this about the various conspiracy theories surrounding the young president's death that seem to surface this time every year around its anniversary.
People find it intellectually incongruous that someone whom they perceive to be a king, like Kennedy, captivating the world with his wit, charm, and intelligence, he's smiling, he's youthful, and he's driving down the road, and a second later it's all over with. They say something more had to be involved.
But does Abraham Bolden's claim deserve to be lumped in with those way-out conspiracy theories? The House Assassinations Committee was not able to confirm the existence of an assassination team in Chicago and wrote that it found Bolden's claims had, quote, questionable authenticity. But it also found the Secret Service failed to make appropriate use of the information about the alleged Chicago threat. Suzanne?
Oh, so Brian, did Abraham Bolden, did he ever talk to the Warren Commission?
He was scheduled to in May of 1964, but at that time, Bolden's lawyer advised the commission that he had charges pending against him, and anything he said might have an effect on his case. So as of now, we found nothing indicating that he ever spoke to the Warren Commission.
Okay, fascinating. Brian Todd, thank you. The Warren Commission was created just 1 week after Kennedy's murder. Its final report on the Dallas assassination says 3 shots were fired from the Texas school book depository by gunman Lee Harvey Oswald, who was acting alone, and that there was no evidence of a conspiracy to kill the president. Well, Stop the Shopping will show you a very unusual anti-consumerism message and the even more unusual man behind it. Plus, a cold case heats up. Major new developments in the Natalee Holloway murder. We'll take you live to Aruba. You're in the Situation Room.
My name is Phyllis Ellis, and I am a cancer survivor. The surgeon said, I'm not going to kid around with you. You have cancer. The only option that you have is to cut it off. But it was so cold. Even his touch was cold. It was like I didn't have life. I wasn't going to have any life if I didn't do this. So I would have lost my breast if I hadn't came to Cancer Treatment Center of America, because all around my breast was clear. The other hospital, they was going to cut it off. This place here is totally different. They took me by the hand. They compassionate. They feel my pain. They knew me better than I knew myself when they finished with me.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is like no other hospital, full of hope and committed to your fight. We use every weapon: surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, nutrition, mind-body medicine, even spiritual support. You're at the center of a real team working together, all under one roof. So please, call today.
The energy that I got from them, I took that and I gave it to the patients. I said, let me tell you something. We are fighters, and fighters win. And we're gonna win this. I had a team of doctors that talked to me on my level so I could understand what they were saying. When they told me what they was gonna do for me, I had hope. They was just gonna do a lumpectomy. They're gonna take the lump out. They saved it. I have my breast. I have my breast.
Our cancer information specialists are here for you day and night. Call now and they'll send you this free DVD showing you how this special hospital combines state-of-the-art medicine with unique therapies to give you treatment options you may not even know exist. So don't give up. We'll fight with you.
Oh my God, I got my life back again. Just want to sing every day. I got a song in my heart. I'm healthy. I'm good.
Please, call today.
Good morning, Samantha.
Need a head start?
Which way will you go?
The new Suzuki SX4 crossover with all-wheel drive. Or same attitude, sports sedan style. The all-new Suzuki SX4 Sport.
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Either way, it's going to be a great ride.
Before taking any loan, you should know the terms.
CFSA member companies always follow state regulations to make payday advance terms clear. Starting January 1st, all stores will display easy-to-read posters that show advance amount, fee, and APR.
Fees differ by company and state.
Look for the posters or go to knowyourfee.org before you take out a payday advance.
Making the fine print bigger, that's responsible lending.
Always use payday advances responsibly.
Closed captioning hours provided by Renewin, the only supplement for joint care and energy.
Introducing Renewin, the only intensive release supplement for joint care and energy. Renewin with glucosamine and chondroitin improves joint comfort, joint mobility, and boosts energy. Renewin in stores now.
Well, it looks like a robust start to the holiday shopping season, with Americans packing stores and malls across the country on this day after Thanksgiving. Our CNN's Ali Velshi joining us live. Ali, it certainly looks like Americans hit the stores, and the way I see it, it doesn't look like consumers are all that concerned about the bad news that we seem to be getting lately. They're out there.
Yeah, Suzanne, and I don't know whether it's that they're not concerned or it's the opposite. They're actually trying to push away all of the concern that they've been hearing, because most consumers have been following the news and they know, obviously they don't need to hear it on the news. Their gas prices are high, their oil prices are high, their home values are lower, and there's even talk about a recession. So I don't know if they were out there to sort of do what American consumers do best and say, we don't really care, or they weren't concerned at all. We spoke to a lot of them, and that's what they told us, that they aren't all that concerned. I couldn't tell whether the sales were any better. The shift we did see this year, Suzanne, is that stores opened earlier. Many outlet malls were open as early as midnight last night. Sears across the country and other chains opened at 4 in the morning. So when I got to the mall this morning by 5 o'clock, it looked like the middle of the afternoon on a normal day. There were a lot of people out there. The numbers are yet to come in. But really, the American consumer has so many years been called upon to disappoint, and they never do. The American consumer likes to shop. I remind people of 2001, after the attacks of 9/11, when it was expected to be a very, very bad holiday shopping season. Consumers were rallied to come out. It wasn't a record-breaking season, but they did come out. Maybe the idea of saving the economy from a recession is enough to get consumers out there. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing because they're running up credit, but they were out there today, Suzanne.
All right, Allie, we'll see how that all shakes out. Thank you very much, Allie. And what would Jesus buy? It is an odd question at the heart of an unusual campaign aimed at getting U.S. consumers to stop consuming so much. Our CNN's Karine Winter has the story. Karine?
Suzanne, the holiday shopping season has kicked into high gear, but one man is actually begging Americans to put it in reverse.
Kohl's after Thanksgiving sale starts at 4 a.m. Get up early and get ready to shop.
The message from advertisers this holiday season is shop, shop, shop. But this man wants you to stop, stop, stop.
Give us the power to stop shopping!
Reverend Billy, as he's known, is on a crusade to get Americans to rethink their consumerism, which he says is destroying the country's soul.
We're all shoppers. We're all sinners.
The Reverend and his choir of followers have brought their campaign to superstores and shopping malls around the country, a tour documented in the new film, What Would Jesus Buy?
These products are taking over our lives!
It's an uphill battle when even the president promotes consumer spending.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
And the conference board predicts the average American household will spend $471 on holiday gifts this season, up from $449 last year.
We back away!
The Reverend Billy's demonstrations have gotten him tossed from Walmart and ousted from Starbucks. It might surprise those companies to learn the Reverend is not a real minister, but the creation of New York-based actor Bill Talon. He says he created the character originally to rail against the Walt Disney Company for transforming Times Square. His mission expanded from there.
When I was standing in front of the Disney store preaching, I noticed people gathered around and wanted to talk about consumerism.
Talon runs a nonprofit theater group and says his anti-shopping activities are funded by donations from the public. He says he'll be out again this holiday season, preaching repentance at the retail level.
Change-alleluia. Save Christmas from the shopocalypse, people. Amen.
And by the way, this documentary is playing in New York and here in Los Angeles. And the Reverend Billy does admit there's a bit of a contradiction there in urging people not to shop this Christmas, but also encouraging them to pay to see his film. Suzanne?
Thank you, Karine. And a possible break in the case of missing American student Natalee Holloway. We will take you live to Aruba. And there could be a seismic shift in the way presidential candidates are chosen in California. Republicans and Democrats are battling it out. You're in the Situation Room.
Welcome to a world that the most influential companies call home. A world where more opportunities are being created every day. A world that's opening the doors to infinite possibilities. NYSE Euronext. One market, infinite possibilities.
A debate so epic, even Abraham Lincoln wants to be there. Anderson Cooper, live. The CNN debate where the citizen is the star. The CNN YouTube Republican debate. Wednesday.
Dogfighting is a terrible thing.
I am not gay.
I do not recall.
I never have been
I don't
gay.
recall ever doing
Leave Britney alone! Don't chase me, bro!
Comedy Central's ticking on the year that was completely off the charts. Comedy Central's Last Laugh 07 starring Louis Black. Check your local listings.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut. Tackle your hunger with the Pizza Hut Puzz Zone. Get way more. Get America's favorite pizza. Pizza Hut, now online.
The Golden Crown Restaurant is a landmark in Beaverton, but it's what's inside that makes us unique. We offer a friendly atmosphere that's perfect for your entire family. There's something for everyone on the menu, from our own house medallion beef to Beaverton's best pan-fried shrimp in the shell. And Golden Crown is just as good at home. Takeout orders are always welcome. The Golden Crown also offers a bar with a big screen and a banquet room that serves up to 80 people. The Golden Crown Restaurant. It's all under the dome on Beaverton Hillsdale Highway in Beaverton.
Brian Regan, live in concert. Brian Regan, diesel-powered comedy. High-octane laugh. Brian Regan, get ready to laugh.
Is this for my tour? I mean, why not just have me on stage with a regular mic, talking into it?
Brian Regan in concert at Comedy Central live event. Go to ComedyCentral.com for tickets and tour dates.
There's always something exciting for you at the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry. Strap on your snowshoes for an incredible journey to the North and South Poles in the new OMSI exhibit, Ends of the Earth, From Polar Bears to Penguins, presented by Comcast. Explore the Earth's polar regions and test your ice cube. What are the Northern Lights? Why are penguins black and white? Ends of the Earth, From Polar Bears to Penguins, opening October 27th at OMSI. For more chilling information, visit omsi.edu. Also, don't miss Antarctica, now towering in OMSI's 5-story Omnimax Dome Theater.
Tonight, 7 Eastern on CNN. Doesn't anybody deserve a government that works?
Two brothers who were rearrested this week in the Natalee Holloway case will remain in custody in Aruba. A third suspect is set to appear before a judge on Monday. CNN national correspondent Susan Candiati is live in Aruba. Susan?
We also have new information tonight because I just wrapped up a conversation, a very lengthy one, with the new chief prosecutor in this case. His name is Hans Moos, and he told me, and we're hearing this for the very first time, that given the evidence that they have collected so far, he is convinced, in his words, that he has enough to get a conviction of the 3 people who are currently being held in custody. That's the 2 Kalpoe brothers as well as Joran van der Sloot. I followed up and said, even without the body of Natalee Holloway, and the chief prosecutor said yes. Now, the chief prosecutor would not reveal what this new evidence is, part of which was presumably shown in court today or passed on to the judge. But CNN has learned that one of the things that the new team of Dutch investigators and Aruban authorities have been doing is to reanalyze some old information as well as new information, using in part new technology to analyze, for example, cell phone calls and text messages that were made at the time on the night that Natalee Holloway disappeared. Messages and phone calls that took place between the Kalpoe brothers and Joran van der Sloot. But again today in court, a judge, once he was given some information, decided to allow authorities to keep the Kalpoe brothers in court at least another 8 days. Authorities could always go back and ask for more time as their interrogations continue. Joran van der Sloot was extradited from the Netherlands, and he should arrive shortly, if he hasn't already, here in Aruba. They're keeping a tight lid on things. He will appear in jail, but before court this Monday. At that time, the judge will decide whether he can be held longer without further action on the part of the judge. Now, to recap here, these 3 men were charged Wednesday of this week with new charges on suspicion of voluntary manslaughter, as well as causing great bodily harm that could cause the death of Natalee Holloway. If found guilty eventually of these charges, and a judge would preside over this case, not a jury, these men could face a sentence of up to 2 years in prison. Back to you.
Thank you, Susan, for bringing us the very latest details on an ongoing case. A federal lawmaker is making some very serious charges against Chicago police. He says they pulled him over and gave him a ticket for no other reason than his race. Our CNN Susan Rosen joining us live. Susan, what do you understand happened here?
Well, in this case, the Congressman Danny Davis, says he's a victim of racial profiling. You know, studies show that African-American drivers sometimes feel unfairly targeted by the police, and in this case, the congressman is going to fight the ticket, although the police say he deserved it.
Well, initially I was thinking that someone had called the police and they were on their way to a scene.
Congressman Danny Davis says he didn't do anything wrong. He says he was driving 3 people home from his weekly radio show just after midnight in this mostly African-American neighborhood. He was stopped by 2 white police officers who ticketed him for weaving and crossing the center line.
Since I knew that I hadn't done any of that, then I could only deduce that there must have been some other reason.
The congressman says he believes the sight of 4 African Americans in his black Mercury Marquis made the officers unjustifiably suspicious. Congressman Davis came here to the neighborhood police station and complained to a sergeant about the stop, but the 2 white officers refused to back down. The Chicago Police Department has released a statement saying Congressman Davis was stopped on probable cause and issued a citation for violating a traffic law. We assure the congressman that any allegations of racial profiling will be thoroughly investigated, and the Chicago Police Department remains committed to enforcing the law fairly and without bias. But Congressman Davis insists there's nothing wrong with his driving, and he will be in court to fight the ticket. Chicago has nearly 14,000 police officers, Suzanne, and fewer than 4,000 are African American. Congressman Davis says that he hopes that by fighting this ticket, he will push the Chicago police to recruit more African American officers, and he hopes that it will bring better racial sensitivity training for all the officers. Suzanne?
Okay, Susan, thanks so much for that very important story. And revamping the way votes are doled out, we will show you an effort in one state that could have a huge impact on the presidential election and why some people are very unhappy about it. Plus, his state hosts the first presidential caucuses in the nation in just 6 weeks. Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack will join us. You're here in the Situation Room.
Around the world. Brought to you by Sprint.
Life is busy, but some people seem to get more done than others. Multitaskers. And when the Palm Central was designed, Sprint thought of these people. Then we gave it Sprint Speed. You can email, text, chat, go online so fast. People may wonder how many of you there really are.
Introducing the Palm Centro, only from Sprint for just $99.99 on the fastest national mobile broadband network. Multitask at Sprint speed.
I inhabit the nightmares of Italian loafers. I've trodden my own path. I have stepped in bull, but never talked it. I have been rehealed, resold, but never replaced. I am a stranger to polish. I have spent more time on dirt than cement.
You're out here for a reason. So are we. Tractor Supply Company. The stuff you need out here.
I'm Bruce Johnson, and I'm an inventor. I was always congested at night, and that meant a bad night of sleep. I tried everything from padded paper clips to straws. Finally, one night I was laying in bed, and I thought, outside of the nose, not inside.
Inside Breathe Right nasal strips are 2 plastic bands that lift open nasal passages so you breathe better and sleep better.
My nasal passages stay open, and I can breathe really quite relaxed.
If you have a cold, allergies, deviated septum, or snore, try Breathe Right and you'll notice a difference.
There's the week, there's the weekend, and then there's the weekender.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the subscription from the New York Times, I love it.
Like your whole weekend's just started. It's come a little early.
So the deal is you call the 1-800 number, and then you get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for $3.35, which is half off, which is pretty crazy.
So you get the Friday paper, and boom, you're right into the weekend.
Saturday. The word alone makes me happy. I love to sort of pull everything out of the Sunday paper.
Travel section.
Magazine.
Weekend review.
The international news.
Book review. I got these really great boots after reading the Sunday style section.
All I did was call the 1-800 number.
I'm not one of those call now people.
Call!
You should call now.
I love to have the New York Times delivered.
Who doesn't like to save money?
Call now because it's a great deal.
It's like having a table of contents for everything in the world.
I mean, how much would you give for that?
The Weekender subscription from the New York Times. Get it now for as low as $3.35 a week. Call 1-800-727-7464.
Who doesn't like to start the weekend a day early?
Wednesday night, CNN's Campbell Brown goes inside the ruthless world of political attack ads. If we hate them so much,
It's enough to make you sick.
then why do they work so well? Broken government, the campaign killers. CNN Wednesday night, right after the CNN YouTube debate.
45 years after defeating a U.S.-backed invasion force, Cuba is still worried about a possible attack. It's flexing its muscles this week with military war games. Our CNN's Shasta Darlington is in Havana.
A battle cry in Cuba. Tanks rumble down country roads, and soldiers tramp through the jungle. But these soldiers aren't at war. At least not yet. Cuba has launched 5 days of army exercises aimed at showing people at home and abroad it can fend off a foreign invasion. To outsiders, it may seem unlikely, but Cubans are often told by their government that the United States could one day attack.
It's not panic, it's not a deep-seated fear that this is going to happen tomorrow morning, but it's a desire to add another factor in U.S. deliberations.
There's a historical precedent to these war games. In 1961, the U.S. backed an invasion of Cuba, the infamous Bay of Pigs. It was repelled by an army led by Fidel Castro himself. Then came the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviet Union installed nuclear missiles here in Cuba, just 90 miles off the coast of the United States. These ancient relics are constant reminders of that turbulent past. More than 4 decades later, with Fidel Castro sidelined by illness, there's speculation among Cubans that the United States might choose these uncertain times to intervene. Speculation fueled by comments from President George Bush last month.
The operative word in our future dealings with Cuba is not stability. The operative word is freedom.
His comments riled even some critics of the government. So authorities took the unusual step of reprinting Bush's speech in state newspapers. Muy buenas tardes. The foreign minister accused Bush of threatening to launch a new war of conquest against Cuba, like the one against Iraq. This week, Cuba got to roll out the country's aging weaponry as a warning that any war of conquest won't go unanswered. Shasta Darlington, CNN, Havana.
Okay, Q4. Happening now, a new ray of hope for Middle East peace. Arab nations are behind the breakthrough before a critical conference here in the United States. How much is the Bush administration willing to give to get what it wants? Also this hour, a Thanksgiving disappointment for thousands of U.S. sailors and an embarrassment for the Pentagon. It's all raising red flags about U.S. relations with China. And a reversal of fortune in America's wars. Why is the situation in Iraq improving while Afghanistan is taking a turn for the worse? Wolf Blitzer's off today. I'm Suzanne Malveaux, and you're in the Situation Room. It could be the most significant step toward Middle East peace in 7 years. And now Saudi Arabia and other Arab nations are on board. Today they agreed to attend a U.S.-sponsored conference here in Washington area next week. And dozens of nations and organizations will take part. And the Bush administration says it is a good sign that the talks will be productive. Our CNN's Kathleen Koch at the White House now. Kathleen, obviously the Bush administration doesn't want to raise hopes up too high here, but this could be a breakthrough.
Well, it certainly could be seen as a potential breakthrough, Suzanne, and something that is really important to the Bush administration because it's taken quite a pounding from critics who say that this Middle East Peace Conference next week at the Naval Academy in Annapolis is simply too little too late, that the Bush administration has really focused too much on Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, to the exclusion of the Middle East peace process between Israel and the Palestinians. But the U.S. also does know that if this is to succeed, that Israel must make peace not with just some but all of its neighbors. So the United States is quite pleased to see that these Arab leaders today announced that they are going to participate, Arab leaders including Saudi Arabia. So the administration put out a statement from the State Department saying, quote, "We welcome the decision by the Arab League Follow-up Committee to attend the Annapolis conference at the ministerial level. This is a signal they believe this will be a serious and a substantive meeting." Suzanne?
And Kathleen, what about the role of Syria in these talks?
Well, again, Suzanne, this goes to the heart of the matter that Israel must make peace with all of its neighbors. Syria, an arch enemy of Israel. Now, Syria has said it will not participate unless on the official agenda is discussion of the Golan Heights, which Israel captured during the 1967 war. Now, that agenda doesn't come out until Monday, but what we're being told by a senior State Department official is that the U.S. is, quote, not going to turn the mic off on anyone, that countries will be free to discuss whatever they choose. So no hard and fast commitment from Syria, but we'll certainly find out from them Monday if they will participate. Suzanne.
Okay, Kathleen Koch at the White House. Thank you.
You bet.
The Bush administration is urging calm in Lebanon. That country right now is without a president. Emil Lahoud just left office a few hours ago without a successor in place. He put the army in charge of maintaining order until Parliament can pick the next president. The State Department is warning Americans traveling to Lebanon of possible unrest. Another story we are following, China spoils the Thanksgiving plans for some U.S. sailors. Now, some top military officials want to know why. CNN Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr joining us now. And Barbara, what is going on?
Well, that's a really good question, Suzanne. You know, things were supposed to be getting better between the U.S. and China, but now there is new unpleasantness between our military and theirs. It was supposed to be a Thanksgiving port call in Hong Kong for thousands of sailors in the USS Kitty Hawk battle group. But on Tuesday, just hours before docking, China refused to allow the U.S. Navy into Hong Kong, a port it has visited for years. Admiral Timothy Keating, the head of the U.S. Pacific Command, says he wants an explanation.
China's denial for port access to the USS Kitty Hawk battle group for Thanksgiving is perplexing and concerning to me as a commander of the Pacific Command. It is hard to put a positive spin on this for us.
Hours later, China relented, but it was too late. The Kitty Hawk was already on its way back to Japan. Hundreds of family members were left waiting in Hong Kong. It's an embarrassment for the Pentagon. Just over 2 weeks ago, Defense Secretary Robert Gates announced a number of new agreements while in Beijing.
We reached agreement on implementation of a direct telephone link between our two defense establishments. We discussed the need to move forward and deepen our military-to-military dialogue, including on that nuclear policy, strategy, and doctrine.
There's still a chill on U.S.-China military relations. China has refused to tell the United States details of a test in which one of its missiles shot down a satellite in space, a significant achievement. There are new warnings about China spying in cyberspace. A congressional review warned that Chinese espionage activities in the United States are so extensive that they comprise the single greatest risk to the security of American technologies. So how serious is China's cyber espionage? Well, some experts say the type of information it used to take spies years to collect, the Chinese can now do in one computer download session. Suzanne?
Barbara Starr at the Pentagon. Thank you, Barbara. And now to the race for the White House. With Thanksgiving behind us, the candidates are setting the campaign with a vengeance. After all, the first contest in Iowa now is less than 6 weeks away. So look for presidential hopefuls to zero in on 3 early battleground states this weekend. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Bill Richardson, and Joe Biden all campaign in the leadoff caucus state of Iowa in the next 2 days. Now, Rudy Giuliani, Mitt Romney, John Edwards, and Dennis Kucinich all plan to stump in New Hampshire. Mike Huckabee and Fred Thompson have scheduled weekend swings through South Carolina. And in New Orleans right now, there are some people who are feeling left out of the presidential election process, and others are feeling downright snubbed. That is because the Big Easy was left off the list of fall presidential debate sites. CNN's Sean Calebs is in New Orleans, and Sean, I understand there is a lot of anger over this.
Yeah, really, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. You've been down here a lot, Suzanne. You know that the rebuilding is going along slowly. Well, people in New Orleans thought bringing the presidential debates here would be a good national showcase to show that the building is moving forward and can handle big, important events. Well, it isn't going to happen, and that has left a sour taste in the mouth of people in this city.
New Orleans likes to put on a show.
Come on down, it's a party!
And is trying desperately to tell the world that it's coming back. So when New Orleans lost out in its effort to lure one of the presidential debates here, local organizers were more than a little miffed.
According to the commissioners who spoke to us, I was contacted by the co-chairman, Paul Kirk, and he said to me, quote, "The city isn't ready," which of course we feel is a terrific insult because of all the things that we have done.
That list includes 2 Mardi Gras with tens of thousands of tourists, the Sugar Bowl, Jazz Fest, large conventions, and New Orleans is hosting this year's NBA All-Star Game in a few months. The co-chair of the debate commission says he wants to set the record straight.
It's not a question of whether you can hold a major event or not hold a major event. I think they can hold major events. They've proven that.
7 presidential candidates, 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans, signed letters asking the commission to hold one of the 4 scheduled debates in New Orleans. Women of the Storm, which was formed in the aftermath of Katrina, worked with 4 universities in the city to sponsor the debate and believe the snub sets back efforts to rebuild.
Right after 9/11, the Republican National Convention chose to go to New York to showcase New York, to talk about the war on terror, but also to help the community of New York heal and bring tourists back to their city.
There were other cities, Chicago, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Miami, Portland, Oregon, that were unsuccessful. There's no allegation by them that somehow we were dissing their city.
But there will be no convincing a battered city that politics kept the commission from doing the right thing.
Mayor Nagin weighed in on this and gave us a 1-paragraph statement saying it's disappointing that the recovery and rebuilding that has been going on in this city is not being recognized as a symbol of its strength and determination, but rather a measurement of, quote, not being good enough. And Suzanne, lest you think it's people just in this city who are somewhat upset, 3 major newspapers, the New York Times, Washington Post, and USA Today, wrote editorials saying New Orleans should have been one of the sites for the debates.
Sean, thanks for following. A vacationer's nightmare, an adventure cruise that ends up looking like the Titanic, a passenger ship sinking in the Antarctic. A look at what went so terribly wrong. Expect Hillary Clinton to play catch-up after a setback in Iowa. I'll ask that state's former governor and ardent Clinton supporter if she can do it. And want to ask the Republican presidential candidates questions? Well, here is your big chance. It's our CNN YouTube debate. Find out how to be a part of it and see questions already coming in.
This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever you go, nationwide, your coverage travels with you. And that's just one of the many reasons you need the card you can trust. Because with AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance, you get things like a full range of plans, personal health insurance advisors to help you make the best decision, and so much more. If you're turning 65 or older, or you've already enrolled in a Medicare supplement plan, call now for this free information kit and Medicare guide to help you navigate today's complex healthcare environment. Learn why these Medicare supplement insurance plans are the choice of millions of Americans and are exclusively endorsed by AARP, an organization that's all about life after 50. AARP Medicare supplement plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, help cover some of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare alone. This could save you thousands of dollars out of your own pocket. Plus, you can choose any doctor or hospital in the U.S. If you're shopping for Medicare prescription drug coverage during the limited open enrollment period, remember that our Medicare supplement plans work with any standalone Medicare drug plans. Call now so you're covered for both. Look, want to do away with almost all claim forms? Like the sound of no referrals needed to see a specialist? With this card, you get all that too. Finding the right coverage can be really challenging, especially since Medicare supplement insurance is now more important than ever. That's why the legwork's been done for you. So feel great about making a smart, informed decision. And call to get your free information kit and Medicare guide. Then you'll find out more about a full range of plans, personal health insurance advisors, and coverage that travels nationwide. Yep, this is one great card.
Before taking any loan, you should know the terms.
CFSA member companies always follow state regulations to make payday advance terms clear. Starting January 1st, all stores will display easy-to-read posters that show advance amount, fee, and APR.
Fees differ by company and state.
Look for the posters or go to knowyourfee.org before you take out a payday advance.
Making the fine print bigger, that's responsible lending.
Always use payday advances responsibly.
We'll look for Hillary Clinton to put extra time and energy into Iowa in the days ahead now that her frontrunner status has suffered a new blow there. The latest poll from the leadoff caucus state showing Barack Obama gaining ground on Clinton. Well, joining us now, former Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack, a national chairman of Hillary Clinton's campaign. Governor, thank you very much for joining us here in the Situation Room. I want to start off by presenting two polls to you. Obviously, very consistent on the national level. She is up ahead here. Clinton at 48%, Obama trailing 21%, Edwards 12%, Kucinich 4%. But then you look at your state, the state of Iowa here, the latest ABC News Washington Post poll showing Barack Obama inching ahead here, 30%, Hillary Clinton 26%, John Edwards 22%, Bill Richardson 11%, Joe Biden 4%. You know the folks of Iowa better than anybody here. What is happening? Why is she sinking in the polls? Why is she losing traction in your home state?
Well, I would first of all say that there have been 12 polls since October 1st, and Senator Clinton's been ahead on 11 of the 12. I think this poll and all of the other 11 that show her ahead basically show one thing about Iowa, and that is that it's a very close race between Senator Obama, Senator Clinton, and Senator Edwards. It's been that way for several months. It's going to continue to be that way. At the end of the day, it's not going to be about polls. It's going to be about organization. Ultimately, what Iowans are going to look at is whether or not they are in position to nominate someone who can win and someone who's experienced enough to be able to lead from day one. And I think when they look at those issues, they're going to conclude Senator Clinton is the strongest candidate for the party.
Now, there's something that some Iowa voters are quite concerned about, and that really is whether or not she is honest and trustworthy. I want to take a look at this poll here. Honest and trustworthy, they score Obama at 31%, Edwards at 20%, Clinton goes down to 15%, just above Richardson at 13%. Does that pose a problem for her?
I don't think so, because as Iowans get to know Hillary Clinton, as she gets to travel around the state as she is going to continually do through the month of December, they're going to continue to get to know her. And when they do, they sign supporter cards. They get to know her, not the caricature of her, not the cartoon of her, not what her opponents are trying to suggest about her, but who she really is. And I will tell you, I've been in a number of events with her. People gravitate to her. People are excited about it, passionate about it. I think we've got a lot of momentum going on in this state. There's no question about it, and I expect us to do quite well on caucus night.
And Governor, you made a comment in a TV interview that's created quite a stir here, raised some eyebrows lately. As you said before, you said there's no question she was the face of the administration in foreign affairs, talking about Senator Clinton. Richardson's folks shot back immediately. This from Tom Reynolds, their spokesperson, saying Governor Vilsack's enthusiasm for his candidate has clouded his judgment. We take some exception to this opinion. I also think Madeleine Albright might disagree, too. Do you want to clarify your comment?
Well, I'm not sure Madeleine Albright would necessarily disagree. I will tell you what my source is. It's Bill Clinton, the President of the United States, who suggested and has on many occasions in Iowa that during the first term, because he was busy with Bosnia and other areas, he sent Senator Clinton out as his representative, as the country's representative. She's been to 82 countries. She knows world leaders. There's no question about the fact she was an integral player and a significant player in the first Clinton administration. That's one of the experiences that she brings to the table that's unique and different about her than the rest of the candidates.
I want to play real quick here. This is an ad that was on her website for the caucuses. You've got you doing a little bit of a jig here. Now, I know people said you've gone out of your way to support her, and we see it. This has gone to great lengths here because you're out there doing your thing. Let me ask you this on a lighter note. Do you think that this gives you a little bit of extra boost here, perhaps, to be her running mate? There's been a lot of discussion about that.
Well, I was kind of hoping it might get me a spot on Dancing with the Stars, but apparently the early reviews are suggesting otherwise. We wanted to make sure that people knew that there were some things in life that are hard. Dancing is very hard for me, as you can see. But caucusing is easy, and we have a lot of first-time caucus goers. We want to make sure they're comfortable with the notion of going on January 3rd and standing up for Hillary Clinton.
If she asked you to be your running mate, would you say yes?
You know what? I am focused on making sure she's our nominee, and then she'll make the right choice for the country and the party.
Okay. Thank you so much, Governor. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Detentions and discrepancies amid fresh attempts to find out what happened to Natalee Holloway in Aruba. Police reanalyzed some evidence, and some suspects in the case face longer detentions. And it's a bizarre murder trial. A pig farmer is accused of being a serial killer and burying bodies on his farm. We'll have the latest.
From tornado-devastated Greensburg, Kansas, to hurricane-stricken New Orleans, the Partnership for Prescription Assistance is bringing hope to people in need and communities in crisis. This is Montel Williams. The PPA, sponsored by America's pharmaceutical research companies, has been to 1,500 cities in all 50 states, helping more than 4 million struggling Americans. If you're uninsured and need a hand paying for medicines, call now to see if you may qualify. Because America's pharmaceutical research companies want to help.
To enjoy lifelike room-filling sound, you used to need large, complicated equipment. Now with the Bose Wave music system, it's barely noticeable in your room until you turn it on.
You can hear everything, and it's just amazing that all that sound comes out of that little space.
The sound quality was just phenomenal.
Forbes FYI says you'll think you're listening to a system that costs 5 times more. Inside, Bose waveguide speaker technology delivers room-filling sound.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the sound.
It's magic. Slide a CD or MP3 CD into the Wave music system or listen to FM or AM. Connect your MP3 player or TV. Order the Wave music system with the optional multi-CD changer today and save $50. Ask about making 12 easy payments with no interest charges from Bose. Hear it risk-free for 30 days. The Bose Wave music system.
Once you've heard it, everything else just doesn't measure up.
1 week from tonight, the dark side of Putin's Russia. Christian Amanpour investigates Tsar Putin. CNN 1 week from tonight.
Brian Regan, live in concert. Brian Regan, diesel-powered comedy. High-octane laugh. Brian Regan, get ready to laugh.
Is this for my tour? I mean, why not just have me on stage with a regular mic, talking into it?
Brian Regan in concert, a Comedy Central live event. Go to ComedyCentral.com for tickets and tour dates.
Take the comforts of home with you with Pivot, a new service from Comcast and Sprint. Watch Comcast Mobile TV and browse your home TV listings. Check your Comcast.net email or other email accounts. Even make unlimited calls between your Sprint wireless phone and Comcast Digital Voice home phone without using any wireless minutes. Feel at home anywhere. Add Pivot now. Get the M510 for just $49.99. Pivot from Comcast and Sprint.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Our Carol Costello is monitoring stories incoming to the Situation Room right now. Carol, what are you looking at?
A couple of things, Suzanne. 2 brothers held in the disappearance of Natalee Holloway will be staying in jail for now. Today, a judge in Aruba ordered the Kalpoe brothers to spend at least 8 more days in custody. A 3rd suspect, Joran Vandersloot, is scheduled to appear before an Aruban judge on Monday. The 3 suspects were rearrested this week. Potentially incriminating evidence against a Canadian pig farmer who's accused of killing 6 women in Vancouver. A prosecutor presented closing arguments today in the trial of Robert Pickton. The prosecutor said there's a constellation of evidence that links Pickton to the killings. The prosecutor said items belonging to the victims, as well as DNA samples, were found in Pickton's trailer and on his pig farm. It could pose more political headaches for the Pakistani president. The man Pervez Musharraf ran out of office and a coup could soon be back in Pakistan. Former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif could return next week. That's according to the Associated Press. They're citing sources in Sharif's political party. Sharif heads one of the 2 major opposition parties, and Mr. Musharraf does not want him to return until after parliamentary elections in early January. And a close call for people who were on board a cruise ship that apparently hit an iceberg off of Antarctica. The accident happened last night. The ship began taking on water and slowly sinking. All 154 people on board were rescued by a passing cruise ship. They're all safe tonight. No one hurt. Look at the headlines right now, Suzanne.
Good news for them. Thank you, Carol. And there's finally upbeat news from Iraq. U.S. commanders say they can feel a difference. But it's a different story in another conflict nearby. Why the pressure is mounting in Afghanistan, coming up. Plus, they're thinking about changing election rules in California, and it could make a big impact on who ends up in the White House. And later, thousands of you have sent in your questions for candidates on the CNN YouTube debate. Some serious, well, some not quite. We'll take a look at some of those entries up ahead.
They want a sequel now. How are we supposed to get in touch with these people?
Watch and learn.
Talk to me.
This equals green lead.
How green lead?
How green is money?
Got to get this thing together. Are you in or are you out?
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to a network where dream teams happen at the push of a button. Cisco, welcome to the Human Network.
Everything you need to stay balanced on long trips. Residence Inn.
Expensive brokers are shaking because E-Trade just introduced their completely re-engineered market trader. It's easy, it's extraordinary, it's E-Trade.
I don't have prescription drug coverage.
We don't either. They all need a break on their prescriptions, and they all got one by getting this card, the Together RX Access Card.
That's for people like us.
People who don't have prescription drug coverage. Most cardholders save 25 to 40% on brand name prescriptions. You can save on generics, too. It's free to get, and it's free to use. If you meet these requirements and your household income isn't more than what you see here, then you qualify for the card. So call today or apply online.
This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever you go, nationwide, your coverage travels with you. And that's just one of the many reasons you need the card you can trust. Because with AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans, you get a full range of plans, personal health insurance advisors, and so much more. If you're turning 65 or older, or you've already enrolled in a Medicare Supplement plan, call for this free information kit and Medicare Guide. These are the only Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans exclusively endorsed by AARP. These plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, help cover some of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare alone. Want your choice of doctors or hospitals, virtually no claim forms, and no referrals needed to see a specialist? Remember, our Medicare supplement plans work with any standalone Medicare drug plans. Call now so you're covered for both. Yep, this is one great card.
The CNN YouTube Republican Debate. Anderson Cooper live. Submit your questions now. The CNN YouTube Republican Debate, Wednesday night, 8 Eastern. Sponsored by Americans for Balanced Energy Choices.
You're in the Situation Room happening now. As far as campaign commercials go, there are no nuclear mushroom clouds or frightening wolves in the current ads by presidential candidates. They are using subtlety. But will that get your attention? Democrats often say they're the party of the poor. But are they really? You may be surprised at what a new study says. And a 28-second workday in the Senate. The Senate is in session even though nearly all the senators are away. Well, it's designed to stop President Bush from doing one thing. Wolf Blitzer's off today. I'm Suzanne Malveaux, and you're in the Situation Room. A deadly attack on Iraqi police. An official says a suicide car bomb killed at least 6 officers alongside with 3 other people in Mosul. That followed a bombing in a Baghdad market that killed at least 13 people and injured almost 60, according to Iraq's Interior Ministry. This has been the deadliest year for U.S. troops in both Iraq and Afghanistan, but the two different wars have taken distinctly different turns over the past year, with Iraq starting to look up and Afghanistan starting to look like Iraq did a year ago. CNN senior Pentagon correspondent Jamie McIntyre has more.
No one is declaring victory. In fact, U.S. commanders are warning against excessive enthusiasm. But for the first time in a long time, there are some real positive trends in Iraq that have lasted more than just a few months. Baghdad in particular has benefited from the U.S. troop surge, and U.S. commanders say they can feel the difference.
We continue to see this progression toward normalcy. Markets flourishing, kids in playgrounds and walking to school without parents, our amusement park, extended nightlife, weddings, the reopening of Sunni mosque, increase in electricity, traffic, trash, the participation in local government meetings, etc.
So to what extent are the positive trends we're seeing a result of the surge, or is it serendipity?
Well, the surge helped. I mean, it certainly established conditions that made this more likely, but I think an awful lot of this amounts to a combination of good luck and mistakes by our opponents.
Stephen Biddle is just back from Iraq. He has in the past provided some informal advice to U.S. commanders.
What are the chances that by this time next year we'll have something resembling success in Iraq?
I would have estimated a year ago that the chance of getting a ceasefire and then being able to police it would have been maybe 1 in 10, extreme long shot. I think the odds are probably still better that it will fail than that it will succeed, but radically better than they would have been 10 months ago.
In Afghanistan, it's a different story. Like Iraq, it's been the deadliest year for U.S. troops serving there, but unlike Iraq, the trends in Afghanistan are not positive. As of last month, the number of bomb attacks, including roadside car and suicide, was up 11%, more than 1,900 compared to just over 1,700 all of last year. In 2005, there were only 782 such attacks. According to a recent report from the Nonpartisan Center for American Progress, the U.S. and its NATO allies need to redouble their efforts.
Prospects of success are getting less each year. We still have about a 50% chance of winning because, unlike Iraq, the American people support it.
The U.S. also has 37 other countries involved in Afghanistan. The problem now is to get reluctant NATO allies to come through with the troops and equipment they promised. In Iraq, the challenge will be to hold on to fragile gains while carrying out the troop cuts so many in Congress and the American public are demanding. Jamie McIntyre, CNN, Washington.
Republican presidential candidate Fred Thompson is going after his rival Rudy Giuliani, saying he should stop basing his campaign on his tenure as New York mayor. Well, joining us to talk about that and more in our roundtable, Lisa Desjardins, congressional correspondent for CNN Radio, CNN senior political analyst Gloria Borger, and CNN political contributor Amy Walter. The ladies are in the house, I see. Let's start with a little bit of fresh sound. We got Fred Thompson. This is him. He is in New Hampshire before a group at a gun shop. Let's listen.
He relates everything to New York City. Well, New York City is not emblematic of the rest of the country, I don't think. And I think the sentiments of those people in the rest of the country are in strong support of the Second Amendment, which is where I've always been, and I don't think he's ever been.
Gloria, what is Thompson trying to do here?
Well, Thompson's really trying to pick at Rudy Giuliani's real weakness, which is the sense that Republican voters in poll after poll will say that Giuliani just doesn't share their values. That's the question they have about him. So what he's doing is he's attacking Giuliani on that, saying, look, you know, this is a fellow who is for gun control. And most of us in the Republican Party, not only do we want to be able to use our guns, but we're not like those New Yorkers.
Amy, how difficult is that for Giuliani here when you have that reference, the comparison always going back to New York, that there's a whole country out there that doesn't relate to his experience or New Yorkers' experience?
Well, it's a very good point, and here's how he's trying to inoculate himself on this. You'll see it in his ads, and you hear it from him on the campaign trail, which was, that's right, New York actually was in pretty bad shape before he got there because Democrats were in control. Once they let a conservative Republican take charge, I cleaned up the city, I got rid of crime, I cut welfare rolls, I made sure that the city is moving forward. This is the kind of stuff. Oh, and P.S., I was also there on September 11th. I know how to handle big crises. You can trust me to handle the rest of the country. New York may be different in many ways, but what I know how to do in terms of the big picture stuff is handle the big, tough problems that a lot of people don't want to address.
And Lisa, I want you to listen to this ad because there seems to be a trend here that is happening. We have a lot of ads that are using imagery and subtlety to go after their opponents. This one, an ad for Senator Clinton.
We called Senator Clinton and asked for help. Her office called the next day, letting us know that the hospital was going to absorb the cost of the transplant. I trusted this woman to save my son's life, and she did.
Why do you suppose, Lisa, that she doesn't even speak in this ad? This is an ad that is about her, but totally from another person's perspective.
No question. They want to show that Hillary Clinton is someone that isn't just a campaign machine, but someone who cares about individuals her biggest problem in polls is her likability. Now, I don't think the Clinton campaign thinks they will ever win or get all of their voters based on that issue, but they need to make sure they can't lose more ground on that to Barack Obama. So this ad does two things. It shows her as someone who cares about individuals, also shows her as a fighter, and maybe it'll make people like her more. That's what the Clinton campaign is hoping here.
And Suzanne, her big problem in the polls is also whether voters can trust her. And I think this also goes to the issue of trust. You can trust Hillary Clinton to get things done for you, and she doesn't have to come out and say that. This ad does.
Is that a problem that she needs somebody else to say it for her, you think?
I'm not so sure it's a problem. I think it's a smart way for the ad maker to do it, because when a politician comes out and says, trust me, people usually go, oh, really? Why? Why should I do that? So I think this is just a clever way to do it.
And on the Republican side, Amy, let's take a listen to this ad for Giuliani.
I've been tested in a way in which the American people can look to me. They're not going to find perfection, but they're going to find somebody who's dealt with crisis almost on a regular basis and has had results.
How much can he use this whole connection to 9/11? I was the mayor of New York. I dealt with crises here.
Well, he's used it pretty successfully up until this point, but it is true when you start to watch his ads now, he actually doesn't mention September 11th specifically, and he talks instead a great deal about what he was able to do in actually taking control of New York on all these different levels, talking especially in New Hampshire about issues like taxes, very big concern up there. Uses the word conservative government, and again, another catchword there for Republican primary voters. More importantly, you know, the campaign, I think, has been very clear that if they win this Republican primary, it's going to be because he is seen as the strongest candidate in November, as the candidate number one who can beat Hillary Clinton, but also the kind of candidate who can go up and project a sort of toughness that Republicans want to be able to put forward in the next campaign.
And Suzanne, what's also interesting in this ad is he says you're not going to find perfection. And that's a way of inoculating himself against the charges that he assumes are going to come against him on a personal level, on his character level. The fact that he's had a few marriages, that he pushed Bernie Kerik to become the director of Homeland Security. So this is one way to play it safe for him.
Okay, and we've got lots more on the other side. One question, of course, is it the party of the poor or increasingly the rich, the Democratic Party, that is? You might be surprised at what a new study is now saying. And a taste of the political statements and tough questions we're receiving for next week's CNN YouTube debate.
I'm a registered Republican, I'm a Christian, and I'm also gay. My husband Jeff and I are raising 2 children, but a vote for you is a vote against my family.
There is still time to submit your questions for the Republican presidential candidates online, and we'll tell you how.
Here at the phone company, you've been our customer for a long time. Now Vonage wants to change all that.
Well, over 2 million people have already switched to Vonage.
Oh, really? Don't they miss having phone service?
Actually, with Vonage, you get the #1 rated digital phone service with unlimited local and long-distance calls for just $24.99 a month. What do you charge?
It's simple, really. It starts with different basic rates, long-distance fees, and of course, different packages have different features, and some
Vonage has over 25 features, and they're included for no extra charge.
For me, Vonage is everything I want in a phone service.
It's dependable. It's perfect.
No nickels and dimes like the phone company.
Sign up now with Vonage and get 1 month free. Enjoy clear digital phone sound quality using your high-speed internet connection.
Okay, but making a change is hard, and for over 100 years, the only thing we've changed is...
Your prices?
Whoa!
Call 1-800-573-9003 or go online to betterwaytophone.com.
From tornado-devastated Greensburg, Kansas, to hurricane-stricken New Orleans, the Partnership for Prescription Assistance is bringing hope to people in need and communities in crisis. This is Montel Williams. The PPA, sponsored by America's pharmaceutical research companies, has been to 1,500 cities in all 50 states, helping more than 4 million struggling Americans. If you're uninsured and need a hand paying for medicines, call now to see if you may qualify. Because America's pharmaceutical research companies want to help.
Because financial solutions have no borders or boundaries, UBS operates in only 2 locations. Everywhere. And right next to you. You and us. UBS.
cartilage in your joints is drying out. But you can hydrate your joints with Joint Juice Fitness. Each 10-calorie bottle of Joint Juice Fitness is packed with glucosamine to help keep the cartilage in your joints hydrated and help keep you active. Hydrate your joints with Joint Juice Fitness.
Introducing Renewin, the only intensive release supplement for joint care and energy. Renewin with glucosamine and chondroitin improves joint comfort, joint mobility, and boosts energy. Renewin in stores now.
Activon Ultra Strength Arthritis. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon. Safe and effective pain relief. Activon Ultra Strength Arthritis. In stores now.
Millions of Americans use Head-On. Try Head-On. If you're not 100% satisfied, we will give you your money back. We will give you your money back.
Well, Republicans have long been associated with the rich, but Democrats may now be taking on that role. We are back with our roundtable. Lisa Desjardins, congressional correspondent for CNN Radio, CNN senior political analyst Gloria Borger, and CNN political contributor Amy Walter. Thanks once again, ladies. I want to start off by mentioning a part of this study here. It is from the Heritage Foundation, Vice President of Government Relations, obviously a conservative group that is putting out this study to yet be released. But here's what he's saying that he's found. He says if you take the wealthiest 1/3 of the 435 congressional districts, we found that the Democrats represent about 58% of those jurisdictions. So, Lisa, what does this mean about the Democratic Party now? What is this a seismic shift here?
This is fascinating to me. I think there's a lot of ways to look at this. I think the first thing that's important to mention is we haven't actually seen this data ourselves. There are so many ways to split statistics. I was eager to get into this and see exactly what else is there. He also does say that above average incomes are slightly go Democratic. It's possible that the country in general voted Democratic in the last election, and that's why we're seeing this trend. It's also possible that Democrats are really harvesting those rich suburbs around the city. We've seen Democratic candidates for president and Congress raising more money than Republicans. To me, in a way, though, Suzanne, the bottom line here is that both parties are fighting for the middle class, especially the upper middle class. They want middle class voters to identify with them. But I think when you hear something like this, voters need to pay attention to what parties do, and not if they're the party of this or that, not these labels, but what do they do?
Well, who wins, who loses? Jump in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we're looking at is actually something that's been happening for quite some time here. This is really not all that new. What we've known for some time is that economic issues not driving voters as much as cultural issues. That has been sort of a key of elections for the last few years here. And what we know, if you look at any major city, go into those inner suburbs, whether it's around Washington or New York or Chicago, you'll find those inner suburbs are acting actually more like urban areas in terms of how they vote. They're much more democratic, they're much more liberal, but they're also wealthier. As you move further out and you get closer to the exurbs, those are the more competitive districts. Those are also districts that may be wealthier, but where the president, George Bush, won decisively in 2004. Those are the battlegrounds.
So, Gloria, who's the winner and who's the loser in this?
Well, I'm not so sure there's a winner and a loser, but I do think it sort of shows you where the country is geographically, Suzanne. I mean, I think if you look at New York City on the one hand, or New York State on the one hand, and California on the other hand, you're going to have a lot of those members of Congress. And I think that you can go up and down the East Coast and in the far West and see where most of these districts are going to be. I think that every politician, to answer your question, is going to talk about fighting for the middle class, because that's where they know that most of the voters are. And so we're not going to hear the rhetoric change one bit. And by the way, Republican politicians will tell you that they represent the middle class too, and they'd be right about that.
That's right. I think this is all about fighting for votes. And I think, not to say these numbers are wrong, but we could see competing numbers from Democrats. I see both of these as spin. And I think what's important here is what these parties are doing, not these labels that they're throwing at each other.
Okay, got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. In another political story we are following, some people in one state are trying to revamp the way votes are doled out in the presidential election. But not everyone is happy about it. CNN senior political analyst Bill Schneider has details.
Suzanne, remember hearing about a ballot measure that would change the way California casts its electoral votes? It was supposed to be dead. Well, guess what? It's come back to life. A national political battle is being fought out in California, but the voters there don't seem to know or care much about it. National Republican money is coming into California to pay for gathering petition signatures to qualify a ballot measure that would divide California's electoral votes.
If this passed, rather than 55 electoral votes going to the Democratic candidate, you would probably have about 35 going to the Democrat and 20 going to the Republican candidate. So that could have a major impact on how we elect the president in 2008.
You bet it would. 20 electoral votes is as many as the whole state of Ohio. If the measure qualifies for the ballot, the deadline is next week, Republicans will argue that it's fairer. Why should the 44% of Californians who voted for George W. Bush in 2004 not get a single electoral vote for their effort? It would also bring the presidential campaign to California. Right now, the state feels like an ATM machine. Candidates raise money in California and spend it somewhere else. Democrats will argue it's unfair to split up California's electoral votes unless other big states do the same thing.
The Democrats will say it's a power grab.
That's one thing Democrats have going for them: voter skepticism.
It's very hard to see that there's any major issue here that the voters care about. Generally, they have refused to involve themselves when the fight is between the two parties. They say, "Gee, that's not my fight."
When California voters don't understand or care much about a ballot measure, they usually vote no. They figure somebody's up to something. A lot of the money behind the California ballot measure is coming from Republicans with ties to Rudy Giuliani, and a lot of the effort to stop it is coming from the Hillary Clinton forces. It's turning into an early showdown between the two frontrunners, and the voters of California don't even know it. Suzanne?
And we're counting down to the CNN YouTube Republican presidential debate. We'll give you a preview of possible questions, including those asked in, well, kind of those off-the-wall ways. And was John F. Kennedy targeted beyond the city of Dallas? New assassination allegations ahead.
Situation Room is sponsored by MVParents.com. Visit MVParents.com. Brought to you by founding sponsor, Coors Brewing Company.
At Coors Brewing Company, we know parents are key to preventing underage drinking, but other adults have influence too.
My dance instructor.
My coach. Teens are half as likely to drink alcohol if they have at least 5 caring and responsible adults in their lives.
Our grandparents.
My mom and dad.
That's why Coors sponsors MVParents.com. Here you'll find tools to help your teens make the right decisions. So please, visit MVParents.com today.
But again, we're not dealing with the issue. Relentless. This is anti-middle class. Independent. Doesn't anybody deserve a government that works?
Lou Dobbs Tonight, next on CNN.
My dear friend, retirement living at Terwilliger Plaza is everything I had hoped. I started my day out on the roof garden. The views never cease to amaze me. Then it was downstairs for exercise class. I always feel so much better after, and it helps ease my guilt because we usually go into the dining room for the best lunch in town. There's so much to do in the plaza, and everything else is a short hop away. It's all here. All, of course, except you, my dear friend.
Now I had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you.
Sandals Royal Bahamian, where a world of luxuries await, from 9 gourmet restaurants and every pleasure under the sun to the ultimate adventure, an exotic offshore island. Discover the world's most elegant way to get away.
Get up to 50% off depending on date of travel. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
What happens when you combine this with this? You get results with House in Demand on Searchlight Channel 888.
By putting my listing in House in Demand, I received a call within an hour of it being posted. There is nothing more exciting for a seller than having their house featured on TV.
Select Channel 888 on your Comcast remote, then real estate, then home listings. Get results with House in Demand on Searchlight Channel 888.
It's the season for sharing. Learn more about individuals, families, and nonprofit organizations who need your help. through the Oregonian Season of Sharing program. Then give a gift that makes holiday spirits soar. 100% of your tax-deductible donation will be used to help people in need. Comcast is proud to sponsor the 76th annual Season of Sharing. Pick up today's Oregonian or visit OregonLive.com and share.
You've been waiting for the CNN YouTube Republican debate Wednesday night.
Nothing says happy holidays quite like the word duh. As in, it's obvious. Like getting a great deal on a great car. Happy holiday.
Get $500 HMFC bonus cash and 0% APR for 72 months on a 2008 Hyundai Sonata.
Checking our political ticker this Friday, Senate Democrats go to unusual lengths to prevent President Bush from appointing nominees without their consent. One lone senator, Byron Dorgan of North Dakota, gavelled the Senate in a session for just 28 seconds today. That means the Senate is not technically on a Thanksgiving recess. That also means President Bush can't push through any controversial and unconfirmed nominees by using a recess appointment. Finally, something Republicans and Democrats can agree on. Party leaders in Iowa apparently are feeling the pain of political reporters who have to spend New Year's camped out in Iowa for the January 3rd presidential caucus. So the state parties are teaming up to throw a party for us journalists. The bash will be funded mostly by the media types attending the party, and for the record, it will be a cash bar. And remember, for the latest political news anytime, check out the political ticker at cnn.com/ticker. 44 years and 1 day after President Kennedy's assassination, we are learning more about allegations that he was targeted in another city. CNN's Brian Todd has details.
It seems to happen this time every year. More buzz about the death of John F. Kennedy. This time, the question of whether potential assassins were targeting him weeks before his death. A former Secret Service agent tells CNN just before President Kennedy was to go to Chicago in early November 1963, the agency got an important tip. An employee of a boarding house had seen rifles with telescopic sights and an outline of Kennedy's motorcade route in a room rented by Cuban nationals. The former agent, Abraham Bolden, would not go on camera with us or do a phone interview. He's writing a book out next spring called The Echo from Dealey Plaza. Bolden admits he was not directly involved in the Secret Service investigation into the alleged plot, but in the 1970s he told the House Select Committee on Assassinations he learned about it by monitoring Secret Service radio channels and observing suspects in custody. A different author who's researched the alleged Chicago plot told us what he believes happened to the suspected Cuban hitmen.
From all indications, the surveillance on the two men was blown somehow, and so the two men were actually at large at the time that JFK was getting ready to leave Washington and come to Chicago.
Kennedy's trip to Chicago was canceled, but it's not clear if it was because of a security threat. Contacted by CNN, the Secret Service would not comment on Abraham Bolden's claim, but did tell us he was separated from the agency in 1964 after being convicted of a crime. Published reports say Bolden was convicted of soliciting bribes from a counterfeiter, but that his accuser later recanted. Bolden claims he was framed. Another author says this about the various conspiracy theories surrounding the young president's death.
People find it intellectually incongruous that someone whom they perceive to be a king, like Kennedy, captivating the world with his wit, charm, and intelligence, he's smiling, he's youthful, and he's driving down the road, and a second later it's all over with. They say something more had to be involved.
But does Abraham Bolden's claim deserve to be lumped in with those way-out conspiracy theories? The House Assassinations Committee was not able to confirm the existence of an assassination team in Chicago and wrote that it found Bolden's claim had questionable authenticity. But the committee also found that the Secret Service did not make appropriate use of the information about the alleged Chicago threat. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
And when Congress gets back to business after the holiday, members will try to break a deadlock over funding for the popular children's health insurance program known as S-CHIP. CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, looks at what's at stake.
Thank you. When 16-year-old Heather lived in New Jersey with her dad, she had health insurance.
But when she moved down to Maryland to live with her mom, Cindy Maraco, she was no longer covered.
I couldn't get her on my insurance. I had to take her to the doctor. It was really, really imperative that I took her right away.
So the doctor told Cindy about getting health insurance for her daughter through Maryland Children's Health Insurance Program. It's Maryland's version of S-CHIP.
It's been a blessing because Heather had to see a doctor, a therapist, and get prescriptions. And I would have been in financial trouble having to pay those bills.
Cindy now wants to move her 2 younger children onto S-CHIP as well. They're now covered by her health insurance policy, but she can't afford it.
I only make $30,000 a year. It costs me $70 a week to keep those kids covered.
The children won't qualify for S-CHIP for 6 months, and by then Cindy might be working a better shift, more overtime. She might be making too much money to qualify for S-CHIP, but still not enough to afford insurance. Currently, to be eligible for S-CHIP, the family income has to be no more than $41,300. That's twice the federal poverty level. The latest version by Congress would up that to nearly $62,000, which is 3 times the poverty level. That would cost an additional $35 billion. Currently, over 600,000 adults in 13 states are covered by S-CHIP. This and funding the higher costs with the 61-cent tobacco tax are 2 reasons why some oppose the S-CHIP bill.
I made it perfectly clear that if you keep passing this piece of legislation, I'm going to keep vetoing it.
And that's something Cindy finds hard to accept.
We have little kids all over the place that have no health insurance. It's insane that he would say, oh no, that's too much money. That's too much money, we can't spend that on that, and then right away turn around and ask for billions more dollars to throw away in Iraq. It's infuriating.
Soon, only one of her 3 children will be insured as she waits for a final S-CHIP decision. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, reporting.
Well, the Republicans are about to get their shot at making history. The next CNN YouTube presidential debate is just 5 days away. We'll set the stage for the face-off and show you some of the most provocative and unusual questions submitted online.
Larry King tonight. Get a double dose of Larry King. Starting at 9, Rumba with a finalist from Dancing with the Stars. Then at 10, the show everyone is talking about, Dr. Jan Adams. Larry King, tonight, only on CNN.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And he's a PC, the best-selling computer platform in the industry.
What is this PC?
Oh, I hired a PR person, to smooth things over after that whole Vista problem.
By problem, he means a few early adopters have faced some minor challenges.
Yeah, some people even started downgrading back to XP.
Oh, that's too bad.
And by downgrading, he means they're upgrading to an older, more familiar experience.
And with your new operating system, Leopard, and its cool features, some people might even switch to you, so.
No comment.
Everybody's looking for the perfect home, but you can get there first with free listing alerts from JustListed.com. Don't miss out on the perfect home. Go to JustListed.com now. That's JustListed.com.
My name is Roberta Smith. I am 100 years old, and I'm very proud of it. I'm happy. I live my life like I want to. I never thought I would live to be 100. Never crossed my mind.
Retirement Income Solutions from Genworth Financial can give you retirement income you can't outlive, no matter how long that may be. Genworth Financial, insurance for living, solutions for life.
Introducing a world first. Braun Pulsonic. Powered by unique sonic pulses, over 10,000 microvibrations help expose and shave more hair with every stroke for Braun's most thorough shave ever. The new Braun Pulsonic, powered by unique sonic pulses. Voted best electric shave ever. Braun Pulsonic. It's the perfect gift.
Diamond Solitaires, the gift of eternal love. The Jewelry Exchange has half-carat fancies for $3.99, 1 carats from $5.99 to $15.90, and the guaranteed lowest price on GIA diamonds. Buy direct, the Jewelry Exchange and JewelryExchange.com.
Modest gifts capture the imagination. With the Trailblazer headlamp from LL Bean, you might catch even more. Enjoy free shipping and great values on your holiday shopping. Call or visit llbean.com.
Closed captioning hours provided by Snore Stop. It really works.
Snore Stop, proven effective to stop or reduce the symptoms of snoring. Available in spray and tablets at a store near you. Snore Stop, it works.
Well, now it's the Republicans' turn to make presidential campaign history. The GOP candidates take part in the CNN YouTube debate on Wednesday in Florida. CNN's Josh Lips has been looking over the questions submitted online. It must be fascinating.
This is the most fun assignment I've had in so long. Thank you, CNN. This is so cool. You got to see some of these clips that we're about to show you. You know, people all over the country, they're inundating us with questions, even Americans living overseas. And as we're going to show you right now, people are not holding back. The Republican candidates can run, but they cannot hide from your questions in the CNN YouTube debate, which may include some sharp jabs.
What are you going to do to return the civil liberties to the American people and stop these outrageous acts on our security and our privacy?
Some offer personal stories, like this man who says he's a gay registered Republican.
But a vote for you is a vote against my family.
A few bring up some of the wackier topics on Earth or beyond.
UFOs and aliens.
Maybe he ought to be asking this YouTuber.
I am one of many from another dimension.
Around 4,000 questions are in, more than the 3,000 sent in for the Democratic debate in July. All the questions are viewable online, and we're not saying which ones may be used, just giving you a taste of what we're getting.
What are you going to do as president to ensure diversity in your administration?
There are unique spins on expected subjects like Iraq, taxes, and the national debt. Some want specific.
You're willing to open up Guantanamo Bay to public viewing.
There are serious subjects that don't often make the headlines.
But what about the war going on in your own country? Black on black crime.
And questions all about character.
What is your one greatest strength and your one greatest weakness?
Getting candidates to admit weaknesses? Good luck. Maybe he's in cahoots with this guy who apparently wants to lull the candidates into some form of hypnosis, though there are plenty of characters to keep them on their toes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that man has left the building. Well, the debate is Wednesday night in St. Petersburg, Florida, and it's not too late for you to submit your questions. The deadline is tomorrow night, Sunday night. You got 2 more days. Sunday night at midnight. All you need to do is go to CNN.com and click on politics. We're going to show you right here. When you hit that link right there, brings you to this page. It'll tell you everything you need to do. You don't even need to be that tech savvy. It will get you exactly where you need to be. And Suzanne, I'm expecting at least a few hundred more by then.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
And now to Lou Dobbs, Kitty Pilgrim in for Lou.
Thanks, Suzanne. Tonight, millions of shoppers hit the stores, some before Thanksgiving Day was over, but the rush is tempered with concerns over unsafe toys and even unsafe clothes imported from communist China. Also, a new mortgage scandal hitting America's middle class, mortgage brokers receiving higher fees to steer customers towards mortgages they can't afford. And political eyes turn to Iowa. The nation's first political caucus is just weeks away, and all indications point to a very close race. Our distinguished panel of political analysts will be here to put it all in perspective. All that, all the day's news, much more, straight ahead tonight.
This is Lou Dobbs Tonight. News, debate.